everyone.
Happy Halloween! Welcome to TFT Tarot for Today
Divine Dabblings
with Oberon.
and Banshee.
And we are here tonight as part of our Happy Halloween special. We're here 3 hours tonight. We started an hour early, so we're here at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and we'll be here to 9 p.m. So we do hope you have time to check in or view us on YouTube later.
We have like a whole lot of content tonight, as well as, things for, readings for everybody. So, we know that it's maybe a very dead night because people have things to do on Halloween, Hallows Eve. It's a time for trick-or-treating. It's a time to honor our dead. It's a time to wear silly masks.
Yours is sillier.
Mine is not sillier.
Okay.
This is my wolf mask.
Wait, I can make mine sillier. Here we go. So what do you get when you cross a fae with a Viking?
Oh, good grief.
It's something that kind of looks like me, I guess. I don't know. Anyway.
Kind of obtuse like you.
Yes. Incongruent.
Indeed.
Does not fit.
Well, anyway, also for one of our last times, I guess, for the season, I'm trying to pull it up carefully, we have our animated mystic wheel here. Really scary. And it's going to tell us our fortune. Sorry, Sonny the cat. You can hold it there a minute. Hopefully he will not freak out.
He will.
Yeah, he's doing fine.
Now is a good time to run.
And if you did not
we hope
hear
you don't
that,
run.
now is a good time to run. But I am so glad that Sonny chose not to run.
So Halloween actually marks finishing our third full month because we started in August, September,
I'm
October.
going to lift my mask
We
now.
are moving forward into our fourth month, which is starting with our November broadcast, our Sunday broadcast this following Sunday.
Indeed.
And I guess I will pull off the silly mask too.
Well, but I'm switching to my tarot hat.
Well, then
Leslie C., hello. Welcome to our live stream. We've got a few pieces of business to take care of in the beginning before we begin reading for people. There is something we like to do on Halloween and the days following, and that is to give a little bit of a toast to our departed loved ones. So for people who are on Facebook and where we promote our live streams, we ask that maybe you bring a toast, a glass, something you can toast with, and join us in toasting some of our dear relatives. And if there's somebody that you wish to remember, or friends, if there's somebody you wish to remember today, please feel free to write their name in the chat, and we will definitely recognize them. For me, this has been kind of I'm still going through a year of loss, as I lost my only brother in December of last year. So I would like to remember him, Anthony. I would like to also remember my mom and aunt, whose death anniversary date happens to be the same day, 6 years apart, and is coming up soon on November 13th. And that's my mother, Amelia, and her best friend, her sister, my Aunt Mary. And you?
Well, mostly I think of my father and my brother who have passed before me. My father, Emmanuel, who passed near Christmas time in 2007, and my older brother David, who passed early April, about 5 years ago. It's now 5.5 years ago. But this year we also lost a couple friends. We lost Jeff Barker.
Yes, we did.
Who had been kind of disadvantaged for a long time. He had some stroke thing going on and finally succumbed. And then also too, we had been out of touch with him, but a friend of ours, Don, had died somewhere in this last year, I believe it was, right? You brought home that newspaper about him. And he had been a good friend of mine.
And co-worker.
A co-worker, maybe not a super good friend, but just an associate that I cared about. I've known him for nearly 40 years, I think. It was like 37, 38 years.
So this is the time of year, tomorrow, usually on November 1st and 2nd, We usually take this time period off of work so we can visit our family graves and, pay them respect. And so we wrote something today and we want to do a little bit of toast for our departed loved ones. And so, as I've said, if there is anybody here who would like to add somebody to the mix, now is the time. Do you want to, while we're waiting a second, though, by chance, just kind of pan around? And
Yes.
we have our cat here, our famous Sunny, who is taking up all of our space as usual. So we're going to just pan the camera a little bit so you can see some of our display.
Also Sunman.
We have treats and candy. We have an hourglass to reflect the passing of time. And we also have the death card from something called the Lover's Tarot, which was published in 1992 as a large deck of major arcana only cards. And then the author came out with a full deck of cards. Her name was Jane Lyle and was published by St. Martin's Press. We also have a cauldron filled with different kinds of divination decks. Actually, they're affirmation decks and a tarot deck. And we might pull something from the cauldron for you tonight. And finally, is there anything I've missed? Oh, sadly, we have the Day of the Dead candle, a safe candle because we have cats. And last but not least, we have, I'm going to try to cover up his private parts here as this is a family show. We have Mercury because Mercury, the planet, is retrograde right now, causing us all kinds of havoc with our computer equipment, and messages get kind of mixed up and all of that stuff. And Oberon has this absolutely great pin he loves to wear at work.
It wasn't my fault. Mercury was retrograde.
Hello, Smiling Soul. Happy
Hi, Smiling
Hallows Eve
Soul.
to you.
Happy Halloween.
Welcome as well. Good to see you again.
This has a little bit of a story which I'm going to briefly talk about. The Mercury retrograde charm. This was given to me a number of years ago by a friend who was in our group. Her name was Kitty, and she related with me a lot to the whole concept of Mercury retrograde. And then years passed, and I kept it at my office. And another Kitty, a librarian that I work with, talked to me about Mercury retrograde. And so we got into the habit of giving each other the charm for the duration. So it was actually my turn to have the charm. So I have the charm. So sorry about Kitty, who doesn't have the charm, but hopefully things will be okay.
Hopefully things will be okay. And so you've just made it in time, Smiling Soul. We're going to do a toast to our departed ones. If there's anybody you have in mind, you can mention them in the chat. I mentioned my mother Amelia and my Aunt Mary, who died on November 13th, 6 years apart on the same day. Someday I'm going to do a video story about everything that transpired in regards to that, because it is really fascinating, interesting story. And I also mentioned my brother Anthony, who passed away last December. Still kind of raw feelings about that. So this December will be a time of coming to some peace with that. And so we created a chant, not a chant, but actually a toast today in recognition of all who have departed. Is that water tank? I'm not sure which water tank you speak.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Let's read our prayer.
However, we are going to read our prayer now and do a toast. I won't call it a prayer, but it's just a toast. Tonight,
We
honor those whose human lives are now past, carrying with us those precious things that can death outlast. The sweet memories and the love of those we still hold dear, who have passed beyond the veil where there's no pain or fear. Let us raise our glasses and give them all a heart-filled toast to the souls who positively influence our lives the most. May they always and forever live on within our hearts as we come to realize we are never truly apart. Peace to you, your deceased friends and loved ones from your family tree. This sacred night to each we say, may you always blessed be. To us all.
To us all.
Yum.
Not bad. Thank you, Banshee.
You're welcome. And thank you for partaking of this with us. It is very sincerely felt that we, honor those who have passed and have meant a lot to us in our lives, who have formed the kind of people who we are today. You are the product of your families, your friends, your peers, everybody. It takes a village to raise us all, And so I want to move on and talk about a couple things I have planned for tonight. One thing is I brought back my special Halloween oracle. No fish tank, not with cats. We absolutely do not have that for sure.
I don't know how my mother made it happen because my mom had large aquariums and she had dozens of fish, different kinds of fish. And of course she had a cat back then too and dogs. And I know the cats used to watch the fish tank avidly, and she used to call the fish tank their TV set because they would just sit and watch it like it was TV or something. I don't recall that any of them really tried to get in there, but it is possible that they got a little over-eager and banged at the surface of the aquarium. What are we doing?
Oh, just shuffle those a little bit, and we're going to draw one for the group tonight. This is from the Halloween Oracle, so it's a Halloween-themed deck. And, as we go on, if anybody would like me to draw a card from that deck for them, I will. There's going to be a couple of choices tonight. There's going to be more than a few choices tonight. Cut them, please. Yes. And I will pick them up.
Sonny is languid here with us.
I know.
He's so
relaxed.
content.
How awesome a card for us today. Considering, some of the somberness of this time of year, I have picked the card of joy for us today. And I'm going to look at that a moment. And it says, rejoicing in the present. And, it is true. I very much try to live in this present moment. So basically, it says, I stand here. I am where I am, fully alive and present. Stress is a sham. Besides the whoo of a not-so-scary trick-or-treating ghost, on Halloween evening, one of the most common sounds you'll hear tonight is laughter. There is so much joy at Halloween, and it can be one of the most fun nights of the year if we allow it into our lives. We lead busy lives, whether we are studying, running a household, have a demanding job, or all of them at once. It seems there is little time for us to stop, be present, and enjoy exactly where we are at this time. It has been said that the first step of real change is stopping and acknowledging that we actually need change. While sometimes we might feel that there is little to feel happy about and much to change, we can always feel grateful for something right now, and there is power in that position. It's time to find joy in this moment and to find that joy more often. Should this card come up today, it heralds arrival of more happiness and profound joy into your life. It's a good omen. Actively seek pleasure and build more of the things that give you personal joy and laughter in your life. After all, we build in appointments for the dentist. Why not for our own pleasure?
Very nice. There's not a lot I can add to that other than the idea that in some ways as a child, Halloween was probably more special to me than Christmas was at times. I just always gravitated towards it, and I had a wonderful mom who really liked to help
Your
us
mom was awesome
get
with
our
the Halloween
costumes together and
decorations.
Halloween decorations, and it was her holiday too, I think. So I always carry those. Those are wonderful memories.
Indeed.
They brought joy.
Hey, and so our chat room is not that active yet, so I know there's about six people showing in here. We might be some of them actually showing up. So I'm just wondering, would anybody like me to pull a card from this cauldron for you. I have affirmator cards in here that at Open Soul Tarot on Twitter turned me on to. She talked about the deck and she's used them in some readings on Twitter, and they're a lot of fun. And there's also a tarot deck in here with some interpretations on it, ready made, but we can also give you some of our own, of course. So this is just a quick little fun thing to do right now.
Can we
if
answer
you're
that question
interested.
with a poll?
Pardon me?
Can we answer that question with a poll?
We might be able to, indeed.
Okay. Do you see the question?
Let's see. I don't see a question. Oh, I do see one from Leslie C. Well, Leslie C, I'm going to pull randomly one of these things from the Love deck, but this is more about teamwork. I think we need to do a yes-no question for Leslie C. And you were here first, Leslie.
That's
so
right.
give me a couple seconds and we will get to you. As a matter of fact, I'll read this card about teamwork, but I do not think it necessarily applies to you. I'm determined to be a good teammate in all of my relationships. Or maybe it does, so think about this. If we disagree, I'll resist the urge to place blame and look for a way to solve the problem together. When we're a team, everything's a game. And when we're on the same side, nobody can lose.
Well, it sounds to me like reading between the lines that
Yes.
Leslie C has the team-mindedness in her approach and is wondering whether or not DJ does. So let's
Okay.
see what the cards actually say for Leslie.
We're gonna do a yes/no spread for you, Leslie, and I will pull a couple of my Lenormand cards after. And tonight, in honor of Halloween, I am again using my Halloween Tarot, which was published years back by U.S. Games Incorporated. It's a whimsical little deck full of Halloween images. I'm going to let Oberon shuffle the cards. And if you want this time, I'll cut them and you can pick them up.
Okay, and I'm going to briefly show the back of the Halloween deck because I think it's so cute and whimsical.
Yes.
The little black cat. And I'm thinking of Leslie's question as a yes or no.
And tonight, I've also brought out my past life reading cards again so we can have a little fun with those. Because this is a time to do some inner work and examine things like that. How do past lives influence us?
So you're going to cut them?
Yes, I am.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, they are kind of funny and coy.
Oh, thank you for that.
But you know what, Smiling Soul? Somebody I know always says you have to have the head to wear the hat.
And it is very hard for me to find hats to fit this big head. And that's not ego I'm talking about here. I really do have a big head. And
All right. Am I counting them off?
yeah, go ahead and do that because I'm also going to show Smiling Soul that there are 3 tarot cards on this hat. I bought this at an event and it's really cool. It's got the Magician, the 3 of Wands, and the 10 of Pentacles on the hat, which are all very auspicious cards indeed. Did you miss my wolf mask, Smiling Soul? We started with that, so I will also throw on the old wolf mask again.
Well, Leslie, this is rather interesting. We use a 3-card method for yes and no that employs counting off cards into 3 different piles and looking for the ace. So you count until you get an ace, unless you get to the 13th card with no ace. If you get 13 cards, no ace, you move to another pile, so on and so forth. So what you're looking for is how many aces you have, and that determines how more likely your question is yes or no.
Correct.
So with 2 aces, which you got, that means that the answer to your question is most likely yes. It's a stronger chance of yes than not. And the 2 aces you got were the Ace of Pumpkins, which is like the Ace of Pentacles, so
Yes.
it sort of applies to the financial situation, although that
Or
is
earthly concerns.
yeah, that is not as pertinent
No.
to the reading's question. The other one is the Ace of Imps, which is kind of like the Ace of Wands. So I think this is saying, yeah, it looks good, but then there's this troubling other card, which is the Lovers, but it's reversed. And so it's kind of interesting that you asked a question about whether somebody loves you because the Lovers card came up. And normally, what this doesn't mean is like, it doesn't mean it's the end of a relationship, but it could mean that somebody's not making correct choices or somebody's not seeing the love in a way. So I'm wondering if maybe the answer to the question is that he more or less thinks, I'm assuming DJ's a man, but if not, we'll just say they more or less think that they're in love with you possibly, but maybe inside they are still wrestling with some questions about that. So I don't know. What
Well,
do you think?
my personal feeling seeing that card the way it is, and that there is a probable yes, is I feel someone here, whether it's yourself or DJ, is wrestling with something, in regards to the relationship. Maybe they're wrestling with the idea of commitment right now. Perhaps, they have feelings towards more than one person, and they are if this makes sense to you, and they are struggling with decisions in that regard.
And Leslie, forgive me if I'm wrong here. I know you've been here before and asked about DJ before because I remember that, but I'm just trying to remember: is DJ the person who it's a little bit of a long distance thing? Like maybe he arrives in town once in a while. I'm trying to remember that. Is that yes to that?
And is that you, just to be sure?
Okay. So
Okay.
so that may be part of what the dilemma is that he feels he loves you, but there's this wrestling going on with the concept of what the parameters of the romance are, meaning that it's different when it's a long distance
It is
relationship.
true. And of course, to commit to someone, somebody has to, long distance, that may require changes and need to be made in their lives, major changes, upheavals from jobs or, their family. So there's many decisions that have to be made, and maybe he is just not ready to commit yet. I'm sorry, they, because of, because of circumstances.
Right. So I think the short
Yeah.
answer, and we're going to have Banshee
Yes.
pull the Lenormand, which give a little more texture there. But the short answer is that it looks like, yes, he does care about you, but he's also wrestling with the concept of how to really get the relationship more of a formal relationship. Good. I'm glad you understand it. Now, Banshee's going to pull some Lenormand, and
See if we see
normally
anything
those give us a
else.
little extra information or clues. So let's see what that says. And we appreciate you being here with us tonight
Yes,
and
thanks
asking
for
a
joining
question.
us
Thank you for
again. We
joining us.
appreciate it. All right, I'm going to take one.
What you get, Banshee?
So let me think about it a moment. All right, these are very positive cards, Leslie. One is the sun, and the other is the bear. Now, the bear is kind of a feminine energy kind of card. And it's also talking about personal empowerment, somebody who really is strong in their personal power, and I believe that's you. And the sun
I agree.
is a highly successful card. It speaks of success, and in all your endeavors. This could be with a relationship that there's a happy ending. Uh, it's very powerful, and so I would suggest to you that maybe if you feel confident and comfortable doing it, it's time for you to kind of maybe push the envelope a little bit with this here.
Oh, Banshee, I was going to say it a little less delicately and just
Uh-oh.
say, Leslie, I think you're the one that's going to have to do a little bit of the heavy lifting here. Because I don't know the Lenormand, but I agree totally with Banshee that this card shows that you are the power in the relationship. Did you want to say something else? I know I
No, I
interrupted
think
you.
you go for it. You've got it.
And to me, like I said, I don't understand Lenormand as well, but I relate to the symbols. The sun to me is always about illumination, and illumination also means knowledge. So I do feel too that this is like a quest for you to learn a little bit more about what it is you can do to be the heavy lifter. It may be that you have a resource or a skill or something that you have to figure out, how to employ that. Something you can do to somehow be that person, because maybe you're going to find out something and it won't be that hard after all. I hope that's true.
Yes, I think things look positive.
They do, more or less.
As far as the cards go, but it's, now it is up to what happens next. And so we're giving you a little bit of advice on maybe how to proceed, but you never know, what fate has in store for you. We hope that this helps.
You're welcome.
You're very welcome, and gives you something to think about anyway, because that's what's important here is, helping you make the decisions on how you need to proceed in matters.
Happy Halloween. What you got now?
Well, I just drew this for myself, actually. I just took a break to draw this for myself to see what I needed to think about. And it's a very Halloween-oriented card for this time of year, I think. It's called the card of Letting Go. It's an affirmator card I pulled out of there. And the Letting Go card is, I don't dwell on bad things that happened. I let things go because I have enough heavy things to carry around. And also, grudges aren't a great look.
Well, do we want to try to return to some of our programming ideas?
Well, okay. I did want to bring up something today because something funny happened on Twitter today. I saw this tweet from somebody I'm collaborating with who also happens to be an academic librarian, and they mentioned that they retweeted something that had to do with kind of like haunted dolls, and that it's not a good idea to buy haunted dolls or something like that. And it reminded me of this book that I bought, the silly little book that was written and put together by a person in Michigan who actually creates or collects. Could you do that, camera,
sorry.
please? No, that's all right. Who collects creepy ass dolls. And her name is, I should say her name, of course, since I'm showing her book, Stacy Lee Brooks. And this, I've never been so creeped out by dolls in my life looking at this book. But I'll tell you, there are some creepy dolls out there. And of course, some of them are very old and dated, so they're worn out and they just look plain creepy. And so she wrote funny things and put together little skits with these creepy dolls in her collection. And I mean, it was just so funny, and it's so Halloween-y. I couldn't resist but show this and talk a moment about this today.
And Sunman has decided he wants to be more in the picture than
Oh,
you.
I see. Well, that's cool. That's all right with me. The other thing is today, as I've mentioned before, I have brought out my Awakening Far Memory deck, which is a reincarnation deck that talks about past lives. And it's really an interesting setup deck because it's like decks within a deck. So basically there is a part of a deck that relates to the culture that you might have been a part of. There's a part of the deck that talks about what kind of employment or what you did in that lifetime. There's another part of the deck that talks about the theme of that lifetime, the overall theme. And then there's another card that talks about how you may have passed away in that lifetime. And so if you believe in things like reincarnation and past lives, this is a whole lot of fun to work with. I don't know how seriously you want to take something like this, but what I would say is it certainly gets your mind stimulated and thinking a lot about things in general. So I thought I'd bring them out again today to show everybody. And we could do one for ourselves, or we could do one for a brave soul in the audience who might like one.
Moo-ha-ha.
And I'm missing a deck. There it is. Okay. There are actually 5 decks within a deck, if that makes sense to you. And so, okay, Do you want to be the brave soul tonight to see what your
Yes.
past life might have been? Pick one of the blue ones first. You can just ruffle through and pick one.
Do you want me to reveal it?
No, just put it down for now. Face down. Pick one out of the green. Okay, the blue deck is about the culture that he may have lived in the past. The green one is the environment he lived in, like whereabouts he lived. The white one, which is next, is about the occupation he may have had. And this red one that I'm handing him is about the theme of this lifetime. And this final deck, this purple deck with the infinity symbol, is how he may have passed away. So let's be brave and check them all out here. Okay, so why don't we just look at the culture card, which is the blue one. What do you have?
I have Central America.
Wow. So, okay, now you kind of got the kind of area that you live in at the time. So you were in Central America. So what environment were you in Central America?
That's this one.
Yes.
Seashore.
Near, oh, interesting. So near the water's edge.
Off the coast.
Yeah, off the ocean.
Return high again.
And what is the occupation you may have had, the white one?
Artisan.
Oh, so perhaps maybe he made pottery, depending on the time frame he was at, or drew. Maybe he did
Oh no, I sold seashells down by the seashore.
seashells. Okay.
They were
And
really special.
what was the theme of this lifetime, Mr. Artist?
Growth.
Ah, so through your life, oh look, and there's a shell on there.
See, I've just intuited. I did sell seashells. Look, it's right there in the picture. These cards are cool, Banshee.
This is crazy, and we had a weird coincidental thing happen today, which I want to share with you guys in a minute. And finally, let's see how he died.
It all fits.
Oh, no, really?
One day I went too far.
No.
I went too far to looking for my seashells and I drowned.
Oh, no.
I
And
got
you see, he
swept
picked
away
all of
somehow.
these randomly and how they fit together. I
That was
always
really
like when
cool.
that happens because...
I don't think they've ever fit together so well.
No, I think that's awesome. And I mean, I could read what it says about each of these in the book, but we're not going to bore you to tears with that. The thing is, though, that you can extrapolate things from this, and also you can meditate on these images and what they may mean to you to see if they resonate at all. Because a lot of times they say what we've done if you believe in past lives, what you've done in your past lives, how you've passed away in your past lives, may imprint on your present life. Have a fear of water or a fear of heights? Maybe that's an indication of a traumatic death you had in a past life, for example. So that's just some fun we've done in this Halloween season with these cards.
And I'm going to answer that question, Smiling Soul. No, we do not hand out candy to girls, guys, ghouls, or anyone. Mostly because we live in a condo and there's actually rules about that in the condo. So there's no door-to-door stuff. There are children in the condo. It's a large condo. There's about 200 people here. And there are families with children, but we suspect they probably drive into the city. That's not very far from here. We're part of a city and we're just on the outskirts of the city in our little condo.
And we are sharing a chocolate in honor of all the trick-or-treaters out there right now. Not because I have a chocolate Jones or anything, but maybe I do.
Hey, little girls and ghouls, you can't touch this.
All right, he ate something because he is constantly looking.
He walked up and was doing that.
Really?
So he jumped up when he was doing that.
Boy.
Look at him.
I know. There's something in his mouth, too, that I can't quite see what it is, but it's dark. Sorry, little cat interruption here as we check out what's going on.
This cat is the worst for just finding things on the ground. He finds a little wad of whatever dirt and he wants to eat
something is
it.
stuck.
He always does that. I think it's just...
I saw this black thing on his. If you looked at him a certain way, you'll see it. Oh, maybe that's nothing. Okay.
No, that's his gum colorations.
Okay. Emergency over. We'll never figure him out, but he is a sweet kitty.
Except he might eat things that he shouldn't.
Except he might eat things that he shouldn't. Well, so this was fascinating.
I got a lot out of that because I think, Smiling Soul, you're right about the tsunami. But if it's a tsunami, then that means I was on the west coast of South America, right? Because it would be in the Pacific Ocean is where tsunamis happen. So that's kind of interesting.
That is interesting. And
general
you know,
reading.
this is just a really strange day for us. We went out to eat somewhere today, and we were kind of debating back and forth where we wanted to go earlier in the day. And you know, he wanted to go someplace, and I mentioned another place, and then he changed his mind to my place, but I kept saying, no, we need to go there. We need to go there. And so we ended up there, and it turned out that when we were there, we ended up running into a friend we've been thinking of getting together with for dinner.
Actually, one of our dearest friends.
Yeah, well, it's a couple, but
we had the male half of it.
Right, the male half was present, and we were so shocked, you know, to see him there. And it was almost like we were meant to be there to see him. And the other odd thing about it was, too, Oberon has been wanting to eat at the place for a while. And, you know, we hadn't been able to get there. And so we were about to change our minds, but I kept saying, no, we should go there. And it turns out that restaurant is shutting its doors permanently this Saturday. So it would have been the last time it probably is the last time that we're eating at that restaurant. So...
And I have no particular connection. We've only eaten there one other time, and not with the friend that we've mentioned. Though I was aware that the friend was going there occasionally, but I had no idea, you know, that our friend was going to be there today. So it was really kind of interesting.
So, you know, it's amazing how things happen like that sometimes. And, you know, that's why I say everybody has these unusual, I would call them somewhat paranormal, coincidental, whatever you want to call them, occurrences in your life, synchronicities that are just kind of hard to explain how that happens. But everything seemed to fall into place today. You dropped the death card? Okay.
And the funny thing is that I was just getting ready to do the reading that Smiling Soul's asking for, a general reading.
So you know, Smiling Soul, what that means, don't you?
Change.
Not scary stuff.
Change.
Well, it depends. Change can be scary, but obviously big changes are afoot for you. That's what it looks like.
This is a card of really big change. In my opinion, it's mostly good change, although any change has lessons and has parts to get over. All changes are kind of like learning moments, teaching moments.
Yes.
So we are doing a general reading for you. How do we want to do that?
Well, let's see. We will do...
You know, I have a 3-card general reading, the one I did before.
Why don't you go ahead? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You'll just have to shuffle with me. Okay, so
certainly
this
will.
is for you, Smiling Soul. Hoping you're feeling better too. Go ahead and shuffle.
Oh, who do we have with us? Joel. Welcome back. We're reading for Smiling Soul right now, but you will be next on our list.
Yes, I remember the questions about real estate. Very good.
All right.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me shuffle.
So, welcome to our Halloween show. We started a little early tonight.
We've already done a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Are we going to have enough to keep doing?
Oh, yes, we will. Oh,
Very good.
yes, we will. We've got 3 hours worth of things to do.
Yes, we started at 6. We're here to 9.
And we have plenty up our sleeves. I've got a cauldron full of cards that I can pick out of and give everybody an affirmation if they would like. But for now, let's get to reading.
I have brought back my Vampire Tarot and my Gothic Tarot.
And I'm
my
using the
Night
Halloween
Sun
right
Tarot.
now. All right, go ahead with your reading.
All right, so
Well,
the first
our
card
reading.
is the card that covers you and represents the environment you're now in or the things that are going on around you.
This is for Smiling
Oh,
Soul.
look at that.
Wow.
You get the Fool, and the Fool is the card of a fresh start. The Fool is the card of starting over or starting something really new. Sometimes it's a start where maybe you don't necessarily feel you know everything, and so you're sort of taking some chances, but listen to your instinct. Make sure if it doesn't feel right, then you know it probably isn't right. So you need to do that. It's around you right now, so it could just be saying too that maybe there is some sort of a decision or opportunity to move into something new right around now. What do you think?
Well, what is the position again? I'm sorry, General?
It's just the general
Yes.
around you.
Well, it's definitely like
Environment.
fresh starts, but it's also telling you, maybe you have to trust yourself and trust the universe and realize, that the time is right for you to set out on some type of new adventure. And, whether you have some misgivings or whatever, you feel it might be risky for you at this time, it's almost begging you to take a chance. Take a chance on
strong card.
yourself and trust the universe will provide for you.
Now, I like to pull the next two cards at the same time because they're said to be corollary or slightly opposite ideas about what you're going through. So I have pulled them,
Oh my gosh.
and they're both actually reasonably good cards.
Guess
So,
what? They're all upright so far.
yeah. Well, these are the three cards. So the first card is the Ten of Pumpkins. And so this sort of says that maybe there's two things going on here, possibly. One is that maybe you're going to connect with family or with family that can help you. This is about support from your family. And so it may be that depending on what your circumstances are, you're going to feel like you can rely on them or that they will be making some sort of overtures or messages to you to tell you that they're there to help you.
May I?
Go ahead.
Yes. The Ten of Pumpkins is a lot of support from family or friends, or it might be the bigger family of even the community. It also, I sense here, I like to think of this card as there he goes with our microphone again. I like to think of this card as even evoking our ancestors, the people around us from the other side. There may be some allies for you from there as well.
Well, sometimes family is really the family that you end up having, whether
Right.
it's really biological or not. It could also just be saying that there's something legal that maybe will be able to shift towards you. Sometimes there's a legal connotation. I'm not really clear what that might be in this case. But on the other hand, I'm just going to go ahead and focus. Thank you. We think he's adorable too. And he's looking at himself on the computer monitor. He always does that. Now he's going to go over and look at her monitor. But this next card I think is more dynamic for you. It's the Magician. And this is the card of somebody who basically does take charge of things for themselves. And so it may be that what's really going on
Are you? Go ahead.
is that you have to just really find it within yourself to take charge of things. And that maybe, remember I said sometimes the two cards, one might be more of a negatory and one a positive. So maybe the idea of the Ten of Pumpkins is that you can't necessarily rely on your family. You really are going to have to figure out how to do it on your own.
Well, and also let me add to that the Magician card shows that you may have to dig deep within yourself, but you have to recognize that you have all the tools he's taking down our props here, all the tools you have to make things happen in your life right now. You just have to pull it together. That's all it's saying. The Magician is a card of somebody who stands confidently ready to move forward because they have mastered certain things in their lives. So you should be able to go forward with some confidence.
You know what I think he's doing?
What
he
is
was
he
staring
doing?
at my hat, my Viking helmet.
I see.
I'm going to take it off, I think,
Okay.
because it's also getting a little hot
And
under there.
So is that all of them?
Yes, it's just
Okay.
3 cards.
I'm going
like
to do
that.
the Lenormand for you,
Alrighty.
Smiling Soul.
And I will try to remove cards from under
And then Joelle will be
the
next.
hind end there. So that was kind of interesting, I thought. What you got?
Indeed. Well, I do have the coffin card again, which is interesting because you also remember Oberon dropped the death card. So that is interesting to me. And I don't want you to be alarmed by that. But what it does indicate to me is that there is definitely something coming to an end. And it may be something that has been long standing with you. I could suggest a number of things, like, for example, if you were working towards a degree or something, you're going to school, you're going to be finishing that up. If you have had some long-standing issues with your health or where you live, you're going to be making changes in that regard. That will, that, in other words, certain problems or issues might be coming to an end. It looks like things are coming to an end, but it's from something that has been long standing in your life. I feel, there's several ways I can read the card, the lilies. That was the other card that came up. And one of the things it does mean is maturity or old age. So to me, it indicates also a long time span. So it's something that has been a part of your life for a long time. You're going to make some radical changes and let it go.
Yeah, these cards, they're not drawing heavily to me. I'm mostly just going to agree with what Banshee says. I think that to me, when we see symbols of death, they're not really about physical death. They're really about the death of something.
Well, I'm going to
It's a death of a
interject.
job. It's a death of an attitude. It's a death of a friendship.
I'm going to interject a little bit here. I'm not
Oh, these aren't tarot.
right. They're not tarot, and these cards can predict death, but from what I'm seeing here, I am not feeling it.
Yeah, I don't.
And, I would certainly be careful how I handle that. I never predict death of a person, but I can tell you, that sometimes you may have been grieving a loss, and possibly somebody who was older, in your family or neighborhood passed. But but in this case, I'm thinking it's talking about something else.
Well, here's what I think too is those are lilies, right?
Correct.
Yes, and I don't know when Easter is next year, but I'm thinking to me this is telling me intuitively that this change will come about, or be completed around Easter time. So hang in there. Maybe that's what's going to happen.
Yes. So hang in there, smiling soul, and maybe we can read for you more later if we are quiet tonight. We expect kind of a quiet night because it is Halloween, and I know that people are busy. So anyway, Joelle, you are next, and I know you had a question about your real estate. If you're going to get a real estate job within 7 days, so
that's a hard question.
Well, I think this must indicate to me that you probably have applied for a job, or you are expecting to hear from a prospective employer. Sounds like a yes/no question to me.
It does. Let me use. There you are. Did you hear what we just asked? We're wondering if you actually already know that you're kind of in the pipeline, like you've applied for something and you're just
expecting
hoping
to hear news, hopefully good news within 7 days.
So we think that sounds like a perfect yes or no. So we're going to go ahead and take that question at face value. Joelle will get the job.
You're welcome, smiling soul. Yes, time is getting up for me. I applied for several jobs. Okay, all right. So let's see what we find out today.
All right. You are welcome too, smiling soul. Always nice to have you in our chat room. Thank you.
Thank you. Which deck are we using now?
This is the Gothic Tarot in honor of Halloween.
It's not as light and happy-go-lucky as my Halloween tarot.
But the readings are literally, the cards' meanings are literally identical to standard tarot cards. They just use the dark images. So it's kind of interesting.
In London. All right.
Would this be a considerable move to go to London? Or are you already somewhat in proximity?
Or are you living in London right now or in England?
Britain.
Yeah.
Britain. JSS UTB, you will be our next person. We're just starting a reading right now, but it won't be too long, so hang in there.
I'm putting you on the list, JSS. You will be next.
Okay, so Joel is
It's ready to cut.
Yes. Am I doing it?
Oh, I thought I was, but
That's okay. Then I'm counting them off again.
yes.
Alrighty.
Oh, you want me to? I can.
Of course you can. Let's let you.
I can do that.
Let's let you do that.
Let's put Banshee to work here. All right.
You're welcome, JSS, and we'll be with you in a moment. Happy Halloween. This is our special Halloween show. If you go to elsewhere in our YouTube channel, we have just put out this afternoon, our dramatic recitation reading of our Halloween haikus, all the ones that we had published on Facebook and Twitter for the last 31 days. So that's something you can do. It's about 10 minutes long and it's kind of cute, we think. Alrighty. You moved there and you're hoping that things are going to pan out, of course. Ooh.
All right. Well, I want to check one thing because his deck is a little bit different for me. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything important.
And just for all of our general audience, we are not allowed to say that we are absolute most psychic drop dead predictors. These are basically a
we intuit through the tarot cards, and we definitely use our intuition to do this, and I am confident we will do as best a job as we can for you, Joelle. And I would say right now there's some interesting cards in this reading, and one in particular is you've only received one ace in our yes-no reading. It is the Ace of Pentacles. And so right now, things are leaning towards a no, but I have a caveat for you. Let's move forward. Let's go with the middle card first. That is
the Knave of Cups, which is like the Page of Cups.
yes. And I think that
Don't give up.
it says don't give up, but it also could mean that there could be some, you might get a little bit depressed over this. Here is, did you bring that out, the other card?
Not yet. I was just showing this one because you.
I think we got to bring them all out together. The Knave of Cups and the Temperance card upright. Because I think these two tie together kind of nicely for you, Joelle. And what it is telling me is it might take more than 7 days before you hear something. It is it looks like it's leaning towards no within the 7-day time span. And Temperance to me is a card of patience and tranquility and peace. So in other words, I think you're going to have to learn to go with the flow here a little bit and just keep pushing yourself out there. Maybe even putting a few more resumes out there, or approaching more, real estate firms, and not putting your eggs in the baskets of the ones you have, just in case. It never hurts. But I'm not going to give you a definite no on this because it's leaning towards no, not definite no. And it seems to me it's a matter of time. The time is not right yet.
Well, even if it was a definite no, that would just be answering the question you asked. No, in the next week,
Right.
You're not going to hear back. And that, to some degree, is either a problem or a not so problem, depending on what you're looking for. When you ask questions that have really defined parameters of time or other situations. Because although we said, tarot can't be, considered, I can't say, oh, I'm totally true, so give me, $100 or whatever. It's a snapshot in time.
Do you want to pull a single card and see what you get about that question he just asked? Or they just asked?
Okay, I need the rest of those cards, though.
I gave them, you have them. What?
I don't think that's the whole deck.
Oh, they're back here.
Thank you,
Our
Banshee.
cat is now hiding our cards. Sorry about that.
Okay, so I'm assuming that you understood what we said, that, for the question framed that way, that is probably, what the answer looks like. So now I'm just going to briefly pull a card on your final questionnaire.
You know, we also believe they're a snapshot in time, so I would say to you that it may not hurt for you to send out another little email or note to your prospective employers, reinforcing your interest in the position, maybe to try to change this no into a yes. So I would suggest to you, if you put out a little effort, maybe that might help as well. And what do you have?
I pulled the Lovers
Wow.
upright. And the immediate thought that came into my head was, not that I'm tainting this in any way, Joel, is, do you know somebody at that company? Not necessarily like a love prospect, but just somebody that you know there. But then right after that, the thought that came to me was, no, this is about the decision. And the thing is that if the decision is offered to you, it looks to me like it is a good decision. I mean, if somebody says, would you accept this job? I would say this card indicates you probably would be happy there. You would have some sort of love relationship with them, or you would have a good relationship.
Well, it would be a harmonious relationship.
Harmonious,
We're not
that
getting
works.
into the passion part of it here.
Yeah.
You know, in relation to the question you've asked, that's how I would interpret that.
Because the Lovers is about decisions too, and sometimes the decisions are things that really clearly don't lead you towards your best interest, but towards something that maybe is pleasurable in the moment, but doesn't work out in the long run.
The Lenormand I picked for you, Joel, as a cautionary note here that I want you to consider. Here, you're going to have to hold these up. And one is the mice, and the other is the tower. Now, the tower is indicative of an institution or a corporation, a workplace in a sense, in this case, I would say. And the mice, well, you know, the mice are a little bit of trouble. So, what I would suggest to you is to make sure that wherever you decide, whatever you determine to do, be careful that you're not shortchanging yourself. You know, that the corporation or the company that you choose to work for is not going to take advantage of you in some way. You know, either not pay you well enough, get you to do more work than you're supposed to be doing, things like that. Because the mice indicate a little bit of trouble in paradise. And I know in the beginning, especially since you're looking for something because you've just moved there and you want to settle, you might have to settle for something less than you want. And that may also be the case here with the mice, that, you know, it's saying you may have to settle for a little less in the beginning just to get your foot in the door. That's a possibility as well.
Okay, and Joelle also indicates that they think they will have an offer tomorrow from that company.
Okay.
So when I think about that and then what you just said, I'm wondering if maybe it's possible that there'll be this offer, but going back towards the leaning towards no, you may have to consider it and realize it isn't really an offer you can handle. Or you may decide it's the best you can do for now, as Banshee says, and do that. So I do get the feeling like maybe the truth is between the lines. Like maybe you're right. Maybe we'll get this offer and it will provoke some soul searching.
As to whether this is the best thing for you to accept right now. But if you need something, you know, if you really are desperate, say, for a job, you know, maybe something you'll want to consider for the short term. But recognize that there may be some problems and troubles involved with with working at this particular place.
And you know, I would say, okay, so that may happen for you tomorrow. If you're possibly able to, maybe you could drop in Sunday and mention what happened.
Yes, we'd be very
interested.
interested.
Sunday Eastern Standard Time, 2 to 4. Mm-hmm. If you can't do that, you could also just send us a message through our Facebook page. You can leave a message in our Dropbox. We also have a Twitter account,
which you can DM us there, and
there's a Gmail account.
Correct.
So you could leave us messages or questions that way too if you don't join us on Sunday. But it might be cool to hear what happened, or whenever you can come back and just tell us how that worked out for you. We would appreciate knowing, because we care too.
Yes. So JSS, are you still with us?
And if so, it is your time. Happy Halloween. You're welcome. All
And
right.
as it might be a slow night, if you check back in with us or stick around a while, we may be able to spend a little bit more time reading for people. But it just depends on time. We like to make sure we cover everybody who wants a reading in our live streams.
So, what kind of reading would you like, JSS? We can
Do
do
you have a
general.
particular question in mind, or would you like a general reading?
Banshee, you're getting me drunk.
What?
It's the wine.
You only had sips, Mr. O.
Okay, I'm not really getting drunk.
Surely he jests.
Leave Shirley out of this.
We did a little toast to our dear departed ones because this is the time of year to do that, and so we did that at the start of our live stream for those who have joined us later.
And we're going to give JSS another moment, but do indicate what kind of reading you might like or what question you might have. What's our other content stuff that we want to think about doing?
One of the things I also brought out tonight is my deck, Postcards from Spirit. And this is a really nice deck done by Colette Baron Reed, and they literally look like you're getting a message from the other realm. The cards look very ethereal. I will show them off a little bit later, but it also led me to think, Mr. Oberon, that if anybody would like to see if we can get a message from beyond through the tarot cards, we might be willing to try that as well, as this is Halloween, and we like to experiment.
Okay, we have our question, and just from what I know of life without doing the cards on this, I think game designers would clearly make more money than YouTube, unless of course I'm not in the loop on that. I guess it could be either way.
Actually, I think either one is good. Anything in technology. I happen to work at an academic institution that has a lot of
So the
coursework
question-
in high technology. So
I'm going to frame the question for them, but I'm thinking they want to know if they would have a better career or higher income stability in game designer or in YouTube personality.
So let's draw a card for game designer and then YouTube, and see if we need to draw some extra cards for more, information.
So we're just to represent that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. I think we should go that route.
Okay, so the first card will be what represents your question
Right.
as...
Well, do we want to shuffle first? We should.
I did a little
I
shuffling.
did not.
Okay.
We both like to shuffle and get our hands on the deck for you because we put our energies into this reading together.
That's what we do.
Because why? We're a team.
We're a team. 2 tarot card readers are better than 1. As long as our technology... Oh, okay. So check in later if you can. We're here to 9 o'clock.
Okay. We'll see you a little bit later. Smiling Soul, good to see you here, as always.
Oh, you just got back from
you
the
just
nurse.
got
I
back.
got it.
Okay.
Well, not a lot happened. We finished up with Joelle, and we're ready to work with JSS. JSS is looking to find out, as a young person, where should they orient as they're moving ahead? Should they go into game design or some sort of career in YouTube?
All right. You want
Let
me
me
to
cut this time.
Okay, sure. And as always, our gorgeous little big cat takes up a lot of our space.
So this is the card for the game designer?
This is the card. I'm just going to lay him face down first. And let's turn off. This is the game designer because that was the first part of his question, their question. That's very interesting. You got the Justice card with game designer, and I would suggest to you that this means it's a very balanced and appropriate decision for you to consider going that way. It seems like you are very you're very suited for this type of career, and it might be more to your it just might feel better to you in some way.
Sometimes the Justice card has qualities that transfer or transpose between itself and the Strength card, which is a different card. And so I like to think that maybe that's what's going on here too, is that this is saying that probably your greater strengths would seem to be with game design.
Well,
And I'm
so
thinking because
far.
you're asking that, that's probably true.
Well, I don't know, but I think they're torn between two choices. So this one looks very strong to me right now. We're going to see what the second card says about YouTube.
Knight of Imps.
Oh.
Oh,
You
you'll
know,
get in trouble on YouTube. This is just telling me you will get in trouble on YouTube. The Knight of Imps is a young man. Maybe he's early 20s, or he could be younger. And they kind of just move in, and they kind of
a little
bring.
bit reckless.
They're a little reckless, and sometimes people end up thinking that they don't really trust them. So
And
it may not be true, but that's what people may feel.
I might also suggest, because the imps is fire,
And impish.
and which also, the Knight of Imps is really the suit of wands in the regular tarot, which is about enterprise. And to me, I sense that it could be saying this would not be a really good choice for you. You would not be at your best on YouTube from what I'm seeing right now. And I'm going to draw, I think.
Thank you for saying that, Smiling. So that's a wonderful suggestion. Electronic Arts, back when I was more of a gamer, made some of the funnest games I used to play. That's a good 25 to 30 years ago.
I'm drawing kind of an outcome card here for you. And I don't want you to get alarmed when you see this, JSS, but it is the Tower card. What it says to me is, you are very young yet, and you're going to have to go through a lot of trial and error before you really come up with the final decision of where you want to put your energy. The Tower card is kind of learning, because it is upright. You're going to be making some missteps along the way, but you're going to be learning from them as you go. This is a very good, if you're going to get the Tower card at all in the tarot, I highly recommend getting it upright as opposed to reversed, because this shows that we all make mistakes in life. We all have missteps, some worse than others, but this shows that you are going to be able to bounce back because you learn from your mistakes. You learn the lessons you need to. And I'm going to draw a couple of my other cards for you.
Do I get to say anything?
Pardon me?
Do I get to say anything?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead while I shuffle.
Why, thank you.
My
I
apologies.
mostly just agree with my charming partner over here. I think, to me, though, what the Tower epitomizes is probably structure too, in a way. And I'm thinking that's why I feel better about the game designer thing. It just seems to be more structured. I like what Smiling Soul is telling you. So I hope that helps. Now, Banshee's going to pull two final cards that will give a little more
Just to see if it gives a little more
emphasis.
focus on this.
And
This
if you
is-
happen to know a certain monster hunter, tell him hello.
Yes, our producer, our former producer, our son Monster Hunter.
Live streams game playing.
I have the key, and it's interestingly enough that it's with the birds or the house, because they kind of go together, don't they? To get in a house, you need a key. And so I really feel this is telling me that the key is to go with what you most feel at home with, what you are more comfortable with doing. That's what the Lenormand cards are telling me intuitively. Do you have anything to add?
I think it says that, and I'm just going to say intuitively, I feel that ultimately, I am not trying to lead you, but I'm just thinking you would feel more comfortable with game designer, because it's about the skill level that you have, I think, right? And that's really the best use of your skills possibly. And then maybe it could be that it could evolve into something that does put yourself into YouTube a little bit too. But that's what I see.
Never say never to other things you have an interest in, but eventually
Right.
you have to focus on something, and maybe this is the way to go.
Alrighty.
And that's what we have for you, JSS. I hope that helped you.
Cool. Very cool.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for stopping by today. We really appreciate it on our Halloween day here. Well, you know, everything comes and goes with technology. Everything moves so fast now. You never know what's going to be the thing 10 years from now. So,
Yeah, I don't agree, and my son has told me enough about that too. That probably YouTube is not about really making money, and it's too co-opted by the corporate forces that own it, basically.
ooh, should we be saying that on YouTube?
Oh dear. Well, I'm sure we're small pickings to them. Now we do have our next live stream at 2 to 4 p.m. Sunday, so maybe some of you all can come back and see us in the post Halloween coma of sugar or whatever happened. Remember too, we're on Facebook.
Twitter.
We're everywhere.
No, we aren't on Instagram yet,
No.
but that is happening like soon. I think this weekend I will be getting us on Instagram as well, so we'll have to update all of our info screens. We'll get our
Okay, so
producer to help us with that.
we're gonna seek a card message from
Oh, and by
Spirit.
the way, if our producer is out there, I would like to wish him and his significant other a happy anniversary today. It is their wedding anniversary on Halloween. And they did it that way because they met on Halloween, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, and we wish many years of happiness for both Monster Hunter and Mrs. Monster Hunter. Thank you.
Right now, I am shuffling my what are they called again? Postcards from Spirit. I'm sorry, I drew a mental blank there for a moment.
Okay, so we're going to see who wants to get a message from a spirit.
Well, I'm going to do that right now to demonstrate. I have always found that what message I've received has been very appropriate to me, and sometimes I can actually, in my mind, almost see which relative on the other side is, watching my back and giving me this message. But at any or friend, because we do have some very close friends on the other side as well. And so basically, I will have Oberon show you this card because they are so cool. They're so nuanced in their own way. I have picked one that's looks, well, actually, I can hold it up here, maybe. I'm going to try to slide it for you to see. It literally looks like a postcard. And notice how kind of foggy it is, like it's a message coming through from the other side, the way they use the colors on this. And also there's some very fine words on the bottom of this card. I don't think I can get you to see it because they're so faint, but this particular card says, with love. And so I turn it over and I read the message, and here is what it says. Dearest you, as you think, so will you experience life. Thoughts are that powerful, and they need minding. Let the unruly, chaotic ones settle down so they serve you or get released instead of wreaking havoc in your life. These thoughts arise when connected to the energy of fear and often masquerade as truth. Yet the real truth is that essentially all is well. Of course, you have thoughts that are positive, strong, organized, accepting, creative, open, and so on. Those are the ones we want you to keep thinking, and they have a less frantic quality. They're stimulating in a good way and don't get away from you. How do you keep an inner eye on your thoughts? Meditate and leave judgment out of the mix. Everyone has those fearful thoughts. Love them, love yourself, and then choose the thoughts you want the world to reflect back. Life is not so hard as you think. Loving you so much. And so basically that's kind of how the cards look on the other side. They have the entire interpretation, the entire message from Spirit there. And I would have to say, I'm not really sure who would be telling me this from the other side. I could almost see this as being my godmother, my Aunt Catherine, telling me this. Because it doesn't exactly sound like her language, but it does sound like something she might say. She was very wise, and she was the matriarch in my mother's family. So I could almost see her giving me this message that I need to guard my thoughts, because my thoughts can go to some dark places sometimes, I have to admit. So this message does resonate to me, and maybe it's something I need to hear at this time.
Now, can you think of a specific person when you're pulling it?
You can. You can actually ask, what message does so and so have for me? And we could try to pull it and see what we get. Are you going to do one?
I'd like to.
Okay, absolutely.
And for some reason, the person who crossed my mind this evening
Uh-huh.
was our old friend
I've been thinking about him.
Eric.
Oh, I've not been thinking about him.
I know, he just came into my mind. Should I
I
just
was
pull
thinking
one?
of our friend Lon today.
Just
Go
pull
ahead.
one? Do I
Did
look
you
at
get the
front part?
same one? Let's see.
We all love you so much.
No, it's not.
Okay, so the front of the card.
Do you want me to read it?
No, I want to read
All
it.
right.
Has some
What does it say?
baby. It says Ben something. Okay, you can read it. I'm giving up.
It says, "Be fearless, Mr.
Like he
O."
wasn't.
Well, he was a little shy, our friend Eric, and a little bit lacking in self-confidence.
Kinda
And
had
really,
that.
he was a great guy. He was a
was a
very
really
nice,
nice guy. I
gentle
loved him in a
person,
way.
gentle soul. Dearest you, sometimes it's wonderful to give, but there are times you may find yourself over-giving. Now might be a good time to check in and see where you might be cutting off the flow of abundance. Let others give to you, even if you are more comfortable being generous and being the giver, the healer, the rescuer. In the art of living, we sometimes overlook an important skill, receiving gracefully and with gratitude, without diminishing yourself or trying to deny vulnerability or bringing an agenda of equality to it. Receiving is hard for some people. Maybe you? You do not need a "this is for that" in your exchange with others. You are doing good in the world. Let the world give back and support you. Then you can give up the old stories that have you convinced you have to do everything alone with no help. Let your well be filled. I think that is interesting coming from him, because I could almost see that, especially the part about denying vulnerability, That just sounds like him.
Yeah, I got something good out of that.
So I don't know what everybody thinks of these cards, but we definitely have a lot of fun with this. And so if anybody would like a message from these tonight, we have this. We also have our Cauldron of Mystery with our affirmator cards in it. Hey, Smiling Soul, you're with us? I am going to pull an affirmator card or a tarot card, whichever comes into my hand, out for you randomly right now. We have a cat down there. I just noticed that. The camera moved, and that was not a
No,
ghost.
that was my feet.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay then. I pulled a tarot card, Smiling Soul, and believe it or not, I want you to know that I pulled the High Priestess card for you. And I'm going to read what this card says, but we, of course, know what the High Priestess card means. What they say on the card, Smiling Soul, is, what secrets need to be uncovered? Who has the knowledge? Your message here is to look at all the possibilities and then listen to your higher self. The riddle for today is, how do you trust your own intuition? When you ask the right questions, you will find the answers buried within your own heart. So maybe what this is trying to tell you is that some of the answers you seek, you aren't going to really find from other people. You're going to find them out through your own self. What would you like to say?
I can't disagree with that. And that it's basically telling me that because the High Priestess is really about a very inner part of yourself, you have the knowledge inside yourself. So you just need to trust yourself more and get in touch more with your inner self.
That's right.
Meditate, say prayers or affirmations.
Wow, you know what? I could use another chocolate break.
Yeah, and I'll just burble on about something or another. Like
Oh,
we have a
go ahead.
Facebook page where every evening we pull and define a tarot card for the following day. This is for our general audience, so it's meant to give us kind of an inspiration, an affirmation, or a warning if necessary about what's going on the next day. And that's at our Facebook page, so you can just go to Facebook and look for TFT Tarot for today. See, that's what you should do, Smiling
Oh,
Soul.
are you talking about our channel icon JSS who made our picture? Um, believe it or not, that was our 13-year-old granddaughter who did it at, no, she was 13 at the time, yes.
She's still 13.
And she's still 13. Um, she is pretty awesome artist herself, and I don't know if her future plans are going into gaming, but
Because she's got an aptitude for that.
she has an aptitude for that. She's an incredible artist, whether it's digital design or, just pen and paper, sketching and drawing, painting. Her mother is an artist as well, so she has some background there. And she does not get any of this from her grandmother, me, because I can't draw a stick figure if my life depended on it.
There was some minor artistic quality in our family. I could probably do an okay sketch, but I'm not an artist for sure. But what I would like to say, though, is that she. Oh, I lost my train of thought. I have a sideline where I occasionally try to make raffle items for other people for their charities or their things. So I make raffle items by redesigning Barbie or similar dolls to be something different. And she has actually come up with my design work for me. So, for example, we did a project for a bakery, and I needed to have her come up with something for that because I actually hire out the people who make the Barbie clothes. I'm not going to hold little tiny needles and do that myself. I just can't do that.
No, sadly, no.
She came up with really good designs, which I could give to the dress clothier maker, and that person could then work from them. And so I may post them on my Facebook page at some point. But she's an awesome little artist. I just love her to death.
Yeah, and apparently she's excelling in math right now, so she's skipped pre-algebra and moved right into algebra. We're very proud of that because, again, she did not get those skills from her grandmother, who was horrible at math.
Maybe she got them from the other grandmother.
She may have. Like I said, this grandma is no mathematician. My skills are in writing and poetry and that type of thing. So I am not very analytical, technical oriented. I'm more intuitive and artistic in a written word sense and in communications. And
All
what
right.
about you, Grandpa?
My artistic abilities?
Yes.
Minor at best, but better than yours.
Well, thank you for that, and I'm sure she'd appreciate knowing that you liked it. We are just thrilled that she wanted to do that for us, and she did such a great job. And I think she is awesome. Oh, look at Sonny is sleeping. He is so adorable here. Seriously, definitely our tarot kitty, most definitely.
Let's get another shot of the sun man. Let's go overhead.
Oh.
Hi there. Who's sleeping? Hello, kitty.
Now don't wake him. So basically, we can move on to some other content here. What else
have we got?
Well, what else do we got? I have. What did I do with them? Oh, well, let me go back here a moment and discuss. I know we spent some time talking about past lives today, and we've also talked about honoring those who have passed on before us. At some point in my travels with tarot and creating tarot spreads for myself, I created a honoring my ancestors spread, which I'll let you. Oh, I see you've got it up already. and it is based on one of the Norse rune stones. That's kind of what the spread looks like. And basically, it is about talking about things that you've, traits and things that gifts that you've gotten from your family tree and your lineage. So, for example, card 1 is the lessons from my father's side of the family tree. Card 2 is what paternal ancestor or ancestral dramas have left a mark on my life. Card 3, the lessons from my mother's side of the family tree. What maternal ancestor or ancestral dramas have left a mark on my life. Card 5 is how is my life enriched by my heritage or bloodline. Card 6 is what negative patterns have been imprinted on me by my family lineage. Card 7 is, am I living up to my ancestors' expectations? Am I honoring their lives and their memories in how I, live my life? And card 8 is, are my ancestors standing at my side, helping me or hindering me through the influence they exert on me? And so it's a really interesting spread I've used a few times. I just thought I would show that tonight because this is the night for that. But I thought maybe for the people present today, we might be, since we have time, we might be able to do the Samhain, the end at the beginning spread.
Samhain.
Well, I call it, I'm sorry, you call it Samhain, I call it Samhain, or vice versa.
Don't call me late for dinner. That's all I ask.
Yes, I kind of burbled that out there. It is Samhain. It's the appropriate term. And so I think we can look at this this particular reading for all of us. And let me read a little bit about what it's going to tell us today. Samhain, the time of year when the veil between our worlds and the spirit world grows thin, is considered the witch's new year. I put it at the beginning of the spreads, though, because I did like a Wheel of the Year spread where I took all of the holidays for the year and I created a reading for each of them. So I put it at the beginning of the spread, though it can also mean an ending as well as a beginning. You may want to begin your wheel readings with this spread and end with it as well for maximum insight into this cycle in your life. Or if you wish, start with I'm not going to get into that. I'm sorry. I'm reading too much information. Samhain is endings, the death of the old to make way for the new. It is change. Cycles have been completed. It's a winding down time because we're going into the dark half of the year when we more internalize things. It's a time to make necessary adjustments in our life to open the door to new possibilities, new opportunities, a new phase of life. We have to let go of the past and face the unknown future. Face your fears and seek the truth within. Nurture your dreams, visions, and goals. Seek advice and comfort from your ancestors. Meditate and pray for higher guidance. So we're going to do the spread and see what information you might be able to glean out of the cards we draw. Would you like to use one of your decks for this one?
Yes, and I will use the Vampire Tarot.
Now, this is an example of a larger spread that we can do for people. We aren't usually going to do them for individuals on our live stream because we read for a lot of people and we have to move fast. But when we do offer private readings, for donation or cost eventually in the next year, we will be starting that. We will be offering readings such as this for our subscribers and for people who want these individual private readings. Oh, yeah, thank you. Hello. And as always...
And I'm going to mention right now that we have actually just passed a last minute or two, the halfway point of our evening show. We are 1.5 hours in, and we have 1.5 to go. So as usual, all the usual stuff. Happy Halloween, Happy New Year. come and see us again on Sunday. Check out our haiku and also our haiku video.
I
of
guess
us
the
reading it.
haiku is done now. We actually posted haiku for every day in the month of October, and 3 today, actually. Halloween themed haiku. Some of them funny, some of them maybe a little whimsical, or shall we say profound. And so now what we did was we created a video of our haikus that we have posted on YouTube, so you can see them all there if you've missed them on our Facebook and Twitter pages.
Yeah, and that's on YouTube, and it's called Halloween Haiku, a Dramatic Recitation. And also later tonight, because it's still Halloween and we got mucho content today, all day long, I'm going to premiere or post my meditation for Halloween based on tarot cards. It's really going to probably be more of a message for Halloween with slight meditative overtones. It's very short. It's about 4 minutes and a couple seconds. And mostly, I had a lot of fun putting it together, but there were some technical difficulties, and I went through a number of versions of it, and eventually just had to, settle for what I had because I really ran the gauntlet on that one. But I'm fairly pleased anyway with the topic, and like I said, I hope you can enjoy that. That's going to probably go up around 11 p.m. tonight.
Yes. That's good information, JSS. Thank you for that. And Smiling Soul, we are not on Instagram yet, but we will be shortly. So, absolutely.
Yeah, Instagram's our next project, and then we will be working towards, some sort of subscription donation status.
I see what you say, though. We have to have X amount of people to do it on
1,000.
YouTube. But we might have other ways around that for now, too, like offering things through our Facebook or our Twitter pages in the interim till we get there. But it may not be that far off. I'm just amazed. I know it's been a little bit of a slow, it may seem like a slow slag for us, but this is what we need right now because we both have day jobs and we're just getting used to streaming and doing all of these things. So I'm glad it has been a slow, steady growth, and I have a feeling it could take off. We are just amazed at how many people have tuned into our videos of readings we did on the issue that's affecting the Great Britain and the European Union right now, Brexit. We are over 500 views, I believe.
Yeah, for the
our
accumulation of 4, they have hundreds of views, about a total of 500 some views each. And we're even getting very thoughtful response from a person or two.
And we've gotten we've gotten a few subscribers from that. And so we just keep on keeping on. And I think as we develop ourselves further and make more connections on Facebook and Twitter, this is bound to grow bigger.
I'm just going to blame it on astrology. I have so much Capricorn in my chart, even being a Scorpio, and you have some Capricorn in your chart.
Yes.
And Capricorn really instills patience. And the thing that we would like to emphasize is we've been doing this for all of our lives together, and maybe even before that. We've been doing this for 88 combined years, so that's like on average 44 years each. We're prepared for the long haul.
I am just showing the reading because we are not actually going to lay it out that way because thanks to our cat, we only have so much room here today, but we will lay out the 8 cards of this reading and let's see what they say. The first card is about a cycle that has ended in our lives right now and how it affects us. So the Seven of Pentacles, that's very interesting. It's kind of like...
The cycle that ended was sitting back and waiting for something.
Kind of even maybe having some worrisome thoughts about how things were going to turn out. And it's kind of a waiting. We're kind of in a holding pattern right now. We're really not sure where things are going right now.
Right. I can't say more to that. Second card?
The second card is, what changes am I free to make at this time?
The Five of Wands reversed.
Interesting.
What changes are you free to make?
Yes. And I think what changes we are free to make is to free ourselves from competition, feelings of that we have to compete with somebody over things that, this isn't about a competition here. This is about growth and fresh ideas and moving forward.
The changes you are free to make
Yes.
really involve yourself being able to say, no, I want to be less competitive.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. I want to be less competitive. I want to do things that have a benefit or a positive element to
Help
them
others.
that sometimes gets lost when you are competing over something and you're fighting for something so hard. And we don't want to do that. We want things to go naturally. It sounds like we're talking about us here, but maybe you who are listening can
Well,
figure out.
Smiling Soul says everyone's in the same boat, and I
Yeah.
guess that's the point. I guess
Yes.
is that this really is for everybody too.
Yeah.
We may be intuiting it through our own lens, but it really does apply for everybody. Third card.
The third card is how can the lessons, teachings of my ancestors assist me at this time?
The Knight of Cups reversed.
Oh.
And this tells me that sometimes being too emotional can be a hindrance, and that sometimes you have to balance your emotions and not necessarily just immediately go towards what you think is love or is what you want.
Well, and speaking from my perspective, if I thought about it, one of my ancestors was very overly emotional and then worried and stressed a lot about the people in the family. And so, yeah, I need to guard and watch my emotions and not get overly involved in things.
You're talking about Catherine, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Yes, I
I
am.
love Catherine. Her Aunt Catherine. We wish she could have stayed alive long enough to see Brandon grow up. A little
She
bit.
died. Well, she did at least see him as a child. I'm so grateful for as a baby. I'm so grateful for that. But she died 1 month after he was born, and that kind of saddens me. But she was my godmother, so for her to see me give birth to a grandchild, that just is okay with me. She knows, that I was moving the family forward.
Next card.
The next card is a new cycle is beginning. What door am I now choosing to open in my life?
Ooh, the Queen of Wands. Do you want to go first or shall I?
Go ahead.
The Queen of Wands, a door that you're opening,
Yes.
possibly into some interesting connections with people who can definitely help you. People who know how to network, who know how to promote and have things grow. I think there's a slightly sinister aspect. Watch the emotionality with somebody like that. Like, don't mistake their intentions of enterprise for anything more, because maybe they're the kind of person that can quickly put you in your place on certain levels.
Before I give my interpretation, I just want to thank you for that, JSS. That is good to hear that about our growth and that it looks that positive. Because I
appreciate that
have
too.
good feelings about it too. Sometimes our producer son acts like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. I think we are on pace and I'm excited about that. I feel really positive about the way things have been going for us right now. Okay, so where was it again? Oh, yeah, the Queen of Wands. I just want to say about the Queen of Wands, also, this could mean that what doors we are opening in our lives right now could be doors to some artistic pursuits of some sort or something that's very creative. And speaking for me, and I think you guys can find how this relates to you, speaking for me, I sense that, I've been using a lot of my creativity and being able to showcase some of my work, like with the spreads I've created, the haiku we've done. We've been able to show some of our creative talents and chops here in what we're doing.
Absolutely. I think those creative qualities apply more to the Queen of Coins, perhaps, but
Yes.
that's fine. Fifth card.
Okay, the fifth card is what attitude from the past do I or we need to let go of in order to progress?
Those funny little vampires. This one's the Two of Pentacles reversed.
Oh,
Two
so
of Pentacles reversed.
and that is what attitude from the past cycle do I need to let go of in order to progress? And I would say, to let go of this
Hopelessness about balancing everything.
well, juggling everything, the struggle to juggle things and the worries in that regard. Learning to go with the flow better than to let the flow overwhelm you. So, in other words, try to find that happy medium between all the different elements at play in your life in order for progress to be achieved. Because when balance shifts, it's not going to be that easy to move forward. You're going to have to struggle to get it back on track again. What would you say?
Well, I already gave my interpretation, but I agree with that. That
Okay.
basically it's about resolving attitudes, feelings, direction over balance issues.
And what fears do I need to face up to? Oh.
A hot mess.
Well, she looks like that, but it is upright.
It's the Queen of Pentacles, and this is truly the person of creativity. So it's either saying, don't be afraid of your creativity.
Don't be afraid to unleash your creativity and, the things that could promote, growth in your life. Don't be afraid to let abundance come to you, to let the gifts of, of what you do come to you. Be ready to receive.
I think it could also be saying too that sometimes you'll meet or see or be around these personalities of higher caliber and to not be intimidated by them. This could be a person who maybe on one level inspires you, but on another level sort of says like, oh, I could never be that good. You need to really take the inspiration and run with it.
That's a good point, Mr. O. Very good point. Okay, and
Card 6?
wasn't that card 6?
Oh, you're right.
I know. I'm keeping up. Card 7. How should we prepare for this new phase in our lives?
And I have the 6 of Pentacles reversed. Very interesting because this is suggesting to me strongly that there's going to be some financial issues and that you may find you have to really trim your lifestyle a little bit. You have to be, if you have situations where you feel you are mostly compelled or in a position of having to be generous or share with others, you may not be able to do that the same way. What?
Do you remember that postcard you just got?
Yeah.
Well, what this is telling me is that maybe you give so much to others, it's time to hold back a little bit for yourself. So, he is right about the resource angle of this. And, speaking for us, that sounds like retirement. So if we're looking forward to retiring someday, we have to really rein it back in and protect our resources and actually add to our resources a little bit, not spend as freely as we would like so that we can retire. So, think about the messages of this card here, but also it speaks about people who might be giving so much of themselves, they have nothing left for themselves. And we have to think about that balance again, which was indicated by the 2 of Pentacles. So I think those kind of fit together in a way.
It's like being an anti-vampire where the more you draw, the more you are drawn.
Oh, that's an interesting concept since you're using that deck. Yes, indeed.
Alrighty.
And the
our
final card is, what vision for the future is about to be born? And man, I hope it's good. It was reversed.
It's the 3 of Wands. The vision for the future that's about to be born is that it may take you longer than what you expected, and that you may have to actually go back and retune or redefine the concepts or the investments or the work you're doing, because it may just be that it needs something else and that you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket either. Maybe you have to diversify somehow.
Yep, and also what it might also say is, there may be some failure along the way. Plans may not come out exactly as you would have liked. And so basically, don't fold your cards, don't fold it in, just figure it out. Do something else, find another solution.
Alrighty, so that was our reading for Samhain, or for the year
For
ahead.
this cycle, for the year ahead, as this is kind of a new year kind of reading. And also, I do have some spreads for the actual New Year we're all used to, New Year's Eve, so maybe I'll be bringing them out, come winter time. That's just an idea of some of the spreads that I have created and that we would do when we start doing longer readings for people. And you know, we realized today was going to be a very sparse night in our chat room because it's Halloween and people are very busy. So we anticipated that and we just thought we would go with the flow. We know that there's a number of people who now watch us on video, and so they'll catch up with our stream, you know, with our videos later, what they've missed today. And that's why we're offering this other content tonight.
So I don't know what you want to do now, but I'm thinking like, well, it's just you and me and you, smiling soul, or that's what it looks like. So maybe we could do a village's visioning real quick. Let's do a couple of those.
Hey, would you like to do that? Why don't we
Tarot together.
Tarot together. He has come up with this thing that we did once before in our live stream.
And you were there.
And you were there, smiling soul, where we had people help us pick the cards and choose things to do the readings, correct?
That's how it went.
Do you want to explain it again?
Basically, we started shuffling the cards, and then at one point we said, okay, and I think LS was with us or somebody else.
Yeah,
and
that's
we said,
true.
how many times should we cut the deck? Should we cut it into 2, 3, or 4 piles? And so we did ask questions to tell you what we should do. And we said, well, between 1 and 15, what card do you want pulled, you know? Because nobody wants to count off 75 cards to get to the 76.
No, that's true. So we do try to rein it in a little bit, but we leave the choice. We kind of throw things back to our audience to see if they can help us interpret the cards, well, or help, you know, play a role in the reading.
Now, because it's Halloween, I kind of came up with a new little subtle change there. And I thought about the idea about however we arrive at the point of picking cards, we would draw 13 cards. Maybe we would draw them from anywhere in the deck.
Lucky 13 for Halloween.
And then we would shuffle them up some more, and then we would ask that person which card of the 13 should we pull. So we're going to do something like that. And this is just, we're going to do this just as a general reading, not as a specific question.
Right.
Yeah. So you shuffled, right?
I did.
Okay, and I'm going to shuffle. Smiling soul, if you're out there, I hope you are, would you tell us how many times you think we should cut the deck? Should we cut it 2, 3, or 4 piles? And if you went to the little ladies' room, or if the nurse is making another visit, then we'll have to think of something else. I'm going to go ahead and leave them right there for the moment.
So how many piles do you think we should cut them, smiling soul? 2, 3, or 4 cuts? You know what? We should also give the option, though, of whether we should just pull the card right from the top. I think that's valid.
Yeah, there's any number of ways to make it more random and make it, you know, somewhat more like, ooh, they did that. Ooh.
So is JSS with us or Smiling Soul?
No, we're down to 3.
Oh, could be just us.
1, 2, and 3. I think these 2 are the same one because they're
Really?
both signed in.
Okay. Well, we'll just wait a few more minutes, and if not, you know, we could do one of 2 things with some of our time. We could do our reading for the week ahead, which I believe it's my time for that.
Do you want to just switch gears and do that until we have somebody here?
Why don't we do that?
Okay, do you want to use this deck again?
Absolutely.
Alrighty.
Let's shuffle them up again with that in mind. And I am going to we're going to do a 4-card reading for the week ahead.
And this is the standard one that you do for the week ahead.
Yes.
As opposed to the standard one that I sometimes do for the week ahead, but sometimes we get too busy and I don't get to it.
That's right. I think we got yours in last time, but barely, I believe.
Barely, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to shuffle one more time for us. All right. Do I need to cut or...
I shuffled already, didn't I?
Oh, yes, you did.
So the first position is
our body, mind, our body, our physical health, our mental well-being, our spiritual well-being at this time. It's the whole kit and caboodle. So what do you got?
the High Priestess reversed.
Reversed. Well, what that means is we're not quite, our intuition, some of us, it may not be that in sync right now. And also maybe, if you're suffering from any kind of ill health right now, whether it's mental or physical, it may be that you're getting mixed signals right now as to what the problems are.
Okay, explain the position again.
It's your physical, mental, spiritual well-being at this time.
Yeah, I get the feeling that something could be afoot for some of our audience out there. And I think that part of it is that it's just sort of feels like a cipher, like you don't really have a clue here. And you're going to possibly have to go and see some sort of expert who can give you that information.
That can give you advice because you can't seem to find it within right now. Also, Mr. Oberon, I think it could maybe be indicating that this is more on the mental and spiritual level, would you say? Because it is the High Priestess?
Yes, I agree with that.
Oh, hi, JSS. Glad you're still with us.
Okay, we're going to ask you to help us with something in a moment if you're hanging out. So we're going to go ahead and pull our next card.
Yes. The next card is what's going on in our material life, like, for example, at school, if you're in school, or working, your working relationship, your finances. What do we have?
Well, we have a reversed Ace of Bats.
Oh,
So,
the Ace of Bats are air.
yeah, so this is indicating that maybe there are some problems for some of our audience right now
Some setbacks.
with their sense of advancing themselves that way, intellectually, knowledge-wise. And it may just be momentary, or it may be that you really have to figure out how your focus needs to come back to you so you can focus.
You may have to find a way to turn this around because, right now it's showing setbacks in either studies or work, so beware.
And the position?
Okay, the third position is our relationships, our interpersonal relationships, whether it's romance, friendships, family, those types of coworkers, those are our interpersonal relationships.
Well,
what do you got there?
the Hierophant is sort of an interesting card.
For this position.
This is an interesting card for this position because I think it mostly talks about certain standards and or forms of behavior that are considered appropriate. So it may be the card of the conformist, or the person who tries to suggest conformity to others, the person who wants people to behave a certain way, no dissension, no acting out. So that could be going on in that area.
I also think this could be indicative of maybe a relationship with a mentor or a teacher, could be clergy. In other words, and I'm not talking relationship, but I mean, I'm talking about, some kind of interactions with somebody like this who might be able to provide you with some wisdom or some guidance in some area of your life.
And the final card is just basically...
And the final card is the focus for the week ahead. Ooh, it's Temperance reversed. We've had that card before, but I think it was in a different deck.
Our audience will be enjoying Halloween for about another week. They will put aside all thoughts of moderation, and they will eat all their candy and do any number of other bad, unhealthy things. Okay, maybe that's not true.
Oh dear. No, that is sort of things out of balance a little bit there, I have to say. So beware.
But it could be in the fallout of Halloween. Like, this is a blowout, and then it's hard to kind of get back on track.
Yeah. So, I see that completely. And I'm just saying that, be aware, and let's all try to keep perspective as we sip on our little glass of wine here that we shared tonight in honor of our ancestors. Did we ever actually clink our glasses to them?
We did not.
We did not, but we did now. And it's funny, we're using actually the glasses I got, these stemless wine glasses I got from a animal, what do you call animal rescue group, as I, bought them as part of their fundraiser. And so they got paws and different things on it. So I'll tell you what, Mr. O, let's do a quick toast. Something I forgot about when we were honoring our ancestors and our friends who have passed on is our pets who have passed on. All the
Yes.
beautiful cats in our lives. And I had a dog when I was growing up, my dog, Pepper, who brought us such great joy. So in their honor, I toast them.
I've had at least 2 cats that I got on Halloween or the day after Halloween. And I believe they were both black cats too. So that was kind of special.
So basically, the week ahead in summation is going to be a little bit on the rough side, I would say. But it looks to
Yeah.
me there might be a mentor or, somebody in some position that might be able to offer help and guidance in some way. So we do have that going for us. But it seems like the week is going to be just a little rocky emotionally, spiritually, and possibly physically because of some overindulgence factor.
Indeed. I'm looking at the Hershey's over there.
No, I want another one.
We've been
Well,
pretty
we have
good,
been
eh?
eating candy bars, but we have these small little Hershey bars, but we have been splitting them every time. So I think I had the total of one whole bar. So couldn't we maybe split another?
Sure.
We shall. Okay, so did you want to explain to JSS how we might be able to use his help with this
Okay,
reading?
JSS, we want to use your assistance with us for this next reading we're going to do.
Which we call Tarot Together.
Tarot Together, Visioning Takes a Village. And the idea is that we get the audience to help us pick the cards that we use for the reading. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to both shuffle the cards. And this sort of takes the form of a kind of general reading. We're going to say that it applies to you if you're helping us. What we're going to do with this reading, JSS, is we're going to draw 13 cards from that deck. And then we're going to ask you which card of the 13 should we pick. Should we pick the first card? Should we pick the 5th card? And
So
then
think
whatever
about
one,
that a moment.
Yeah.
And keep a number in mind, and then we'll ask you in a minute.
So we'll do the cut ourselves.
Yes. Okay, that's a good idea. I think that was very good.
Okay, let's grab 13. And I'd like to do either swirly, just pick them out randomly, or do you think we should draw
okay,
them?
let's do that. Sometimes we like to make a big pile of cards and just draw the
Why don't
cards
we
we
take
want.
turns? One of us
I'll
will get
take
an odd
one. Put that one on top. I'll take this one. Thank you. And I'm going to grab this one. Okay, that's the 6th card. I'm going to grab number 7.
Number 8.
Okay. And I'm going to take number 9.
Number 10. If this works good, you're going to be really impressed with us.
And number 11.
Number 12. Hi, Alice.
Ellis, welcome.
You must have heard your ears buzzing because I think I mentioned you earlier. You are not too late. We're here for one more hour.
We've been on for 3 hours tonight as our special Halloween program. So, check out our video on YouTube later if you want to catch up with some of the things we showed and did tonight, by all means. But
We're in the middle of a tarot together with our guest here, JSS. So, JSS, we have drawn 13 cards. Do you want to shuffle them again?
no.
Okay.
We're going to keep them in this order. Actually, the bottom is number 1, so I'm going to count them that way.
Okay.
JSS, what number of card would you like us to pull over first?
A number between 1 and including 13.
Yes, between 1 and 13. $11. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Oh my goodness. We got the Page of Bats. The Page of Bats. That's
Oh.
the Page of
Swords.
Swords.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so the Page of Swords. So I'm thinking this card is definitely for you. This is the card. Hi, Jay.
Jay Walker, welcome.
Hi there,
Glad you
Jay.
were joining us. We've been
Okay.
here. Let me just finish a minute. We've been here till 6, since 6 o'clock. And so if you want to check out our video later to see some of the things we did tonight,
We might do a little recap.
and we will do some readings again. We're in the middle of some fun thing we do right now.
Okay, so to me, JSS, this card is you. You are this Page of Bats, which is also known as the Page of Swords. You are a young person. Pages are usually young people.
Yes.
But there's a high quality of air element around you. So I don't know if you have an air sign as your astrology sign. That would be a sign like Libra or Aquarius or Gemini. If you're one of those signs, this is definitely probably talking about you. But even if it's not, the qualities of this card seem to apply to you, in my opinion. And that's the idea of intellectualness, of thoughtfulness. And of course, we know that because we talked to you earlier and you told us about, your aspirations.
Oh, and somebody who is very analytical as well. Now, also, JSS, we now have 12 cards left. So which card would you like us to pull next, JSS? A number
I said
between-
Libra first.
Oh. A Libra. Oh, awesome. Very
I'm good
cool.
at this. I'm good at this.
He's good at this.
Okay, so now what
I'd
are
like
you
to
asking?
think we're both good at this. So I was going to ask JSS which card between 1 and 12 you would like to pull next.
No, Gemini is an air sign. The fire signs are Sagittarius, Leo, and Aries.
Aries.
But the thing is that the fire signs and the air signs do have some qualities that are similar, so they often are thought to be each other. The 9th card is what JSS wants us to pull. Is this to add more meaning, or what is this for?
Well, I think so.
Okay. Okay, so the 9th card that JSS asked us to pull was the Tower, and
Oh,
we
you
got that for
had
you
that
earlier.
card.
So this is
Yes.
like an additional reminder that there's a level of learning, especially from the things that maybe didn't work out well for you, that you will need to always keep considering, at least until you achieve your mastery. So this is kind of like, the reason it comes up again, I think, is just it's really a strong indication for you that you are a bright young person and you need to stay that way, and you need to always consider what you can learn from, because it's not just your mistakes, it's also learning from other people and stuff like that.
It's a level of trial and error. But it also can be, how sometimes something disrupts your life, something sudden happens that's unexpected and may throw you off your game. It's how you respond to that and how you pick yourself up from that and how you learn from that experience. These kinds of things are going to be very critically important to you. So that's one of the things I wanted to add to that. Well, and for Jay and LSS, or LS, who's joined us late, LS, you might have seen us do this before. We're going to do a new segment on our shows from time to time. And since we had time tonight, being on for 3 hours, we decided to do what we call Tarot Together, which is doing a reading where our audience helps us choose the cards and determine, the way the reading is going to progress.
So continuing that, we're going to do that with you, LS. Okay, but we're going to ask Jay and possibly JSS if they'll assist us like we did before.
Here's the rest of them.
And then we may do the same kind of reading for Jay too in a few minutes when it's his turn.
LS, did you have a particular question tonight, or would you just like a general reading? You were here before Jay Walker, so we'll take you first. And Jay, you will be next. It's funny, Gemini is not a fire sign, of course, as he said, Jay, but that happens to be my rising sign. I'm in Aries with air rising. I don't know what that means, but air kind of stokes the flames.
Yes, we just seem to draw the J's and the S's. And you're part of it. Subtitled, Visioning Takes a Village.
So, LS, so would you like a general reading, or would you like, do you have anything specific in mind as we try this tarot together concept with you? And we knew this was going to be a lower night of participation, so we thought we could experiment and do some different things tonight. I also have a cauldron full of affirmation cards and a smaller tarot deck in here that I will be willing to pull from later.
Okay, we're going to do a general, and go ahead and shuffle those cards in. I have shuffled them. And this time we're going to we came up with just for tonight, a Halloween format, which is that no matter how we get there after we do the cuts, whatever, we're going to pull 13 cards randomly, and then from those 13 we will ask you guys to help us pick the cards. But for the first part of this, when we're ready to cut, we're going to ask Jay Walker, if you're out there, please tell us how many times we should cut the cards, and that should be either 2 times, 3 times, or 4 times. And this is for LS reading, and then LS will probably do something similar for your reading.
I was going to cut them, but I'm waiting.
So Jay Walker, get back to us and tell us 2, 3, or 4 times for a cut.
4.
All right. Thank you.
And you are helping us in this way with LS's reading.
I don't know if JSS got a lot out of that, but I thought that was a pretty far out
Wait, don't
reading.
pick them up. I have an idea.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, JSS, you are still with us too, I believe. So could you tell us which pile we should read from? The first pile, the second pile, the third, or the fourth?
The first, the second, the third, or the fourth. That's right, the more the better. And I think this is challenging to us too, because either there is a synergy that's going on between all of us, or we're just kind of
well,
random
we're all
out there.
in this together, seeking knowledge, and I think it's an awesome idea, experiment to try.
And JSS said pick the first pile, which I have done.
So now are you going to pick 13 cards out of that pile, I think?
Yeah. And do we want to do it the same way?
Yes.
Okay. So what we do with this one...
Well, actually, we should have just did from the top to save time, but all right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh, you're letting me pull them all?
8, well, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
All right, it's all good.
So we have 13 cards here that we're going to base this reading on. And now I'm going to turn to LS on this one. And LS, from the 13 cards, which card would you like for us to pull for you first? Between 1 and 13.
Inclusive of 13. And we will pull from the bottom of the deck.
No, actually the top this time because I put them on the bottom.
Got you.
Okay. 7.
All right.
And here it is. Oh.
Oh my. It's the 6 of Imps, which of course is the 6 of Wands. So there's fire energy there.
Absolutely. And victorious signs.
Yes. Do you think that this card is what's around them right now, or just
This is, I don't know.
It's a general reading.
It's a general reading. So I would say this is the present. We're going to do a present, the next 3 months and 6 months. Let's do a 3 card.
Okay, so I'm thinking this shows you riding in victory. It's literally like that. There's something good happening.
Between now and the next 3 months, there's something good happening for you. Well, this is the present. This is now. There should be something happening very soon for you now that's going to be really successful. It could be related to work, it could be related to some creative pursuit, something growthful, and something, that you putting a lot of energy into.
Yeah, and to me, it smacks of the personal. Somebody says to you, "Boy, that was good. Boy, that was necessary. Wow, how did you think of that? That was exactly what we needed." So I think somebody's going to um, say something nice. Say, give you I'm not sure what the word I'm looking for is acclaim. Acclaim.
There, that's it. Yeah. Hey, I have an idea. You know what? We're not outside of this mix either. So I'm going to ask Oberon which card he would like me to pull out of here between 1 and 12 for the next card for you.
And this is the card for the 6 months.
Yes. Well, no, this is 3 months from now. This is from now to the 3 month span. This is three.
So the next one is for
Actually,
the three
I
months.
keep changing this because you're confusing me now, Mr. O. So just say this card was the here and now, which means probably sometime within the next month. This card that we are going to pull, which you're going to give me the number, is going to be within 3 months from now.
Pull the fifth card.
Okay. Pulled. It's the Seven of Imps reversed.
So it's another one, wand, and it's the Seven of Wands, and it's reversed. And this is saying that maybe a little bit down the road, there's a little bit of an upset. It's not connected to that first card, but I do get the feeling like maybe you're going to find a little bit of adversity somewhere. Most likely place would be at work or school where you're most frequently at. To some degree, there's a smack of maybe it's competition, like maybe somebody just merely wants your position or something that you have. I don't see the outcome being that you absolutely lose. I just sort of feel like this is a sense of expectation you need to have that this is going to happen.
I feel that that's a card where you're just, how should I say this? It's kind of like your world, it's not like your world is turned upside down, but something that you felt that, you had some advantage, some going into, it wasn't so. It turned into maybe a disadvantage. And so it's going to upend your world just a little bit, but I think it's pretty temporary. I get that because you know what? It's fire. You have a couple of fire cards here, and I sense that means it's going to be a quick moving thing.
Fire is transformative and
Yes.
tends to do its work as quickly as possible. That's why it's used so often in various ritual procedures.
Well, we have 11 cards left, and so who do we want to ask to pull the last card? And which one it will be? It'll be a number from 1 to 11. Do we want to go back to...
Is Smiling Soul in the house? I don't think they are.
I think Smiling Soul is not here. You work so hard, why not do you? Well, we sort
Why,
of
thank
did.
you.
We pulled some cards for us. We pulled the cards from Spirit and different things. And actually, the one card...
Maybe we'll do one.
I'll just say the cards we did for all of us, for the week ahead and stuff includes us as well. But anyway, what we're going to finish this reading, and because we also have Jay Walker in the room, we want to get all the other readings done first. But I'll tell
we'll
you
see
what,
what
JSS, if we have time, we will do the reading for us, and we'll let you guys pull the cards for us.
So what are you asking, if we should get somebody else to pick the card number?
Yes, who do you
Okay,
want?
so Jay picked 4 cuts, and then JSS picked the first card, and Ellis picked the 7th
Yeah.
card.
Should I pick one?
Yeah, I think you should pick one.
Well, let's see. There's 11 cards left, so I'm going to go with number 9 because that is my number, and I feel strongly about it for you, LS, for some reason, and here it is.
Ooh.
It's the Hierophant.
Again.
Yeah, we've
and,
had the
JSS
Hierophant
had this
earlier.
earlier too. So what do you think it means for Ellis's reading?
I tend to think the Hierophant means that you might be, the outcome of, maybe 6 months down the road, you might be looking at consulting with somebody, whether it's a teacher whether it's a mentor of some sort in a job, whether it is a guidance counselor, it's somebody you're looking for some advice or knowledge or wisdom. This could always also be a spiritual mentor, you know, somebody in the religious realm.
Well, I hope you don't get too wrapped up in that, LS.
It's a mummy.
I could not resist. But at any rate, I sort of agree with the Banshee here, but I also think too that depending on where this applies, your school, any work situations, I get the feeling too that somebody may poise themselves a little bit over you. They're a mentor, but they're also a little bit maybe more of a challenging mentor for you. So you'll want to keep that in mind, that maybe they will expect more of you than you thought that they would.
I'm going to throw something else out there about that card, because the Hierophant can also indicate, you know, some qualities within yourself. And it might mean that you might be following more of a strict kind of regimented plan for yourself, whether it's following a particular spiritual path, whether it's doing work, your work or your education, your studies in a particular pattern or way. It's somebody who sets a routine or a discipline for themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that could also play.
Sonny
here.
wants a close-up.
Close up, cat close up. He says, no, I don't.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Okay, so I hope that was a good reading for you, LS. What did you think of this whole process?
She wants her mummy. And so therefore we're going to get ready to do a similar one for Jay.
We're having fun tonight, being Halloween and all, and it's nice to mix up, cross the streams here a little bit and mix up the energies. And I think, you know, it's interesting to see what comes of this. Jay, do you have a particular question, or would you like us to do just a general reading for you?
Hi, Edric.
Hi, Edric, welcome. We have Jay Walker in front of you. We're doing things a little bit differently tonight because it's Halloween.
Okay, we have a question.
Okay.
Okay, so
What is it looking like?
go
Okay.
ahead and shuffle.
Oh, well, now let's not get down on things.
Now, Edric, we are doing tarot together, where we ask our audience to help us do somebody's reading. So most likely we will do that when we get to you, but because you're new here, we're going to ask you to help us, and we're going to explain that now. We shuffle the cards, and
It's not hard, trust me.
we shuffle the cards, and we think of the person's question who's asking. That's Jay Walker, and we end up asking our audience how many times we should cut the deck, and possibly how many times or which cards we should pull, which number cards. We are going to draw 13 cards and pull from that finally, but we're going to ask you, Edric, how many times should we cut this deck for Jay's reading? Should we cut it 2 times, 3 times, or 4 times? You are welcome for the reading. I hope you stick around, because we want to involve you in tarot together for Jay and possibly Edric. So Edric, 2 times, 3 times, or 4 times? 3. Okay. Do you want to cut him?
Absolutely.
And do you have any other ideas? You had different ideas about did you want, oh, I know. We'll ask LS, are you there? If you're there, which of the 3 cuts should we pull our 13 cards from? Pile 1, pile 2, or pile 3? Yes, please do like. Okay, so you said the second one. So that's this one here. Okay, so we have our pile. We're going to put these aside. Thank you for that, Alice. Whoops. We're going crazy with cameras tonight. But it's so easy to move around, and, I want to just keep my eye on that sun, man. So now we have the pile that Alice wants.
Okay.
Or Jay wants.
Okay.
And we're going to ask them to pick the card.
Well, I don't know that because
We got to pull the 13.
We got to pull the 13 cards
How do you want
from
to do
that
that?
pile. Well, we just pull them. I
Like
would
we did
say
before?
from the top.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're picking 13 cards because it is Halloween, and then also 13 is the opposite of 31. So, and today's the 31st.
Oh.
So, ooh, the
Wow, I
great, the
didn't
great
even-
secrets have been unfolded.
I
So
did not
this
even
is our
think
pile
of
of
that.
13.
So, who is next?
We're still working on Jay's reading. So
I
Alice
mean-
has helped us. Edric has helped us, and I guess we asked Jay. Right?
Okay, Jay Walker, why don't you tell us which of the 13 cards you'd like us to pull for you first? Why do you
it's
have
those?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you handed these here, so I thought those. Were... Okay.
Oh, did I?
Yes, you did.
Then that was it.
Oh,
was it.
Great.
Right.
I hope
Sorry.
I didn't screw that up.
Yeah, that was it.
No, it isn't. There's only 9 here.
Really?
That means that I get 4 more from the top.
Yes. How'd that happen?
Because I put them on top of,
Okay.
because you said you had the
Okay.
pile. Okay, we're going to start fighting now. No, we're not.
We are
Okay, so
not.
Jay wants 6. Is it from the top?
Okay, you want, yes, from the top. Yes, 13 is a very mystical number. Oh,
Okay. I think hang around in a church, hang around where there's art. I think your love life will get better if you're in an area where there are people who are doing art or possibly sacred music, so like a church. But in general, I think too that maybe someone you may meet in your work or being noticed for your work, like maybe somebody that notices your work is going to be the person that maybe, will have a spark with you.
well, I'm going to throw a little bit of something else at you, Jay. I'd like to add that I feel this card also indicates that maybe you need to put a little bit more oomph or work into, your love life right now. Maybe a little bit more emphasis there, and putting your best foot forward, because this is the card of actually somebody looking at you with, critical attention, but in a
finished.
positive way.
Yeah.
But I think in order to get that, you're going to have to make yourself available.
This card is kind of like a claim after being noticed for doing good work. So it's like the being noticed for doing something good. So after that work is done, after it's been performed, and somebody says, "That's great," and then that person's going to say, "Hey, let's go have coffee."
Very true. Very true.
Okay, so okay, so
Were those on top? Make sure you keep them in order. Yep.
can we use the same pile for their
we
next
we
question?
absolutely should. Oh wait, are we just doing one card? I thought it was 3.
They asked a second question, so I'm thinking this next
Oh,
card.
okay. Then we'll do that.
Okay,
yes.
so should we have somebody else do that? Or should we have Jay pull it again?
I think we should ask. Let's ask LS to pull a card from what is it we're up to now? There's 12 cards.
Right.
From 1 to 12, LS.
Pick a card between 1 and 12, and that card will hopefully describe the person's physical features that Jay may meet and find a spark with.
We are in the Eastern Standard Time Zone, JSS.
Number 8. So this card may hopefully describe the physical features, and it's the sun reversed, but this could indicate that this is a person who's light, that maybe they're blonde, in my opinion.
I think it could indicate a Leo or a fire sign.
They're asking for physical
Oh, I'm
features.
sorry, but I think that's kind
But
of
yeah, they
important.
may have Leo energy, fire energy. Um,
I also think that they are very energetic. They might be athletic. So there might be somebody with an athletic build.
I possibly get the feeling that education or mental activity is not their strong suite. It's not to say that they're a stupid person, but they don't focus on learning as much. They may focus more on their physicality. They're the kind of person that would rather be in a gym than be in a library, maybe.
I have one of my other cats butting my head. So let's do, is there any other question you have? We'll throw another card for you for this reading, Jay, if you want to get more details on who this person might be.
Or some other aspect of that.
And keep in mind, we're a little confused with this, but I think the reading is still valid. We're still trying to get our bearings on how to do this right. And that's why we're doing this tonight, so that we'll be better equipped to do this a little faster and with a little bit more confidence next time and a little less confusion, perhaps.
Okay, so there are 11 cards left, and Jay is asking more details. So I'm thinking the best way to do that is just for me to ask the cards, what more can you tell us about this next possible
Yes.
romantic person? And this time we'll ask JSS
Yes.
to pick the card number for Jay.
Between 1 and 11?
So between 1 and inclusive of 11, pick a card number, and we're going to see if that gives us more details for Jay's possible romantic future.
Yeah.
Go ahead whenever you're able, JSS. Number 2. Ooh. 10 of bats.
Okay, so that is the 10 of swords reversed.
No, it's the 10 of wands. Because bats are air, right? Oh, wait, you're right. Swords. I'm sorry. So this is the 10 of swords reversed. More details. Well, I would say that this is a person who's probably had some serious problems of their own, maybe, that maybe they have actually fought off some really, I'll say, evil forces and won. They may have had some physical cost to that fight, but I get the feeling like this is a person who's a survivor, basically, and this is a person who knows how to stand up for right. So it's a righteous person for sure.
I would just add to that I feel this is a person, like he said, that's a survivor and may have survived some painful issues between other people in the past. The stabs in the back are literally that. With the 10 of swords, and that they feel that they have been let down. They feel that in maybe a previous relationship they have been really harmed by that relationship. I don't want to say that the person was physically abused, but with a card as strong as this, that is a possibility as well.
It is true.
So they are suffering from some type of abuse. It could just be emotional from going through a very bad relationship. So be aware that they may need some, they may lack confidence, or they may have some issues to work through, as you get to know this person.
Yes, after Edric, you can ask another question, JSS. So we're going to move on to Edric now.
Yeah,
Thank you,
we are
everybody,
now in the
so
last
far.
half hour.
Yeah, and it's been exciting this last hour or so, so that's really cool. We want everybody to stick around if they can so that we can do Edric's reading and then hopefully another one for JSS. You are welcome, Jay.
I would just like to also, while he is shuffling the cards, just remind people about our videos on YouTube. That, we've been doing a bunch of things. One of the things we've done is we've been doing readings on the Brexit issue in Great Britain, which we've just been trying to prognosticate and see what we could come up with in every step of this journey. It seemed appropriate to do it because there's a timeline with this, and also it seems as though, we've been just trying to follow it along through its process, and we've been doing really quite well with that. Another fun thing that we have done is we have posted all the Halloween haiku that we've been putting on our Facebook page for the month of October. Yes, we've had a Halloween haiku every day in the month of October, and we created a video which is called
Halloween Haiku, a dramatic recitation.
And we just posted that on YouTube today, so feel free to check that out. And Mr. Oberon, what are you posting later tonight?
Later tonight at 11 o'clock or approximately, I will be uploading my pre-recorded Halloween meditation with tarot cards. It's very short. It's just a little over 4 minutes. It's not exactly the meditation I wanted. I had some technical difficulties with some of the footage I was using, so I decided to really redirect on that. It may end up being more of just a good message for Halloween, but it has some meditative overtones. Okay, so we're doing our reading for Edric, and Edric has given us the question. So we are going to ask Jay this time how many piles to cut, 2, 3, or 4.
So Edric wants to know what his future career will be like. And we will just draw some cards to see if we get impressions, Edric, on, as we get the advice from people what to do, we will try to hone in on what your future career will look like.
Jay may have left us. If Jay's not here in the next few moments or so, we're going to go ahead and ask JSS to answer that question for us. But let's give Jay a couple more seconds. I have a feeling he left the chat room, though. So that's fine. He'll always come back. Jay's one of our regulars who has shown up a few times. Let's just go ahead and say, JSS, are you still here? Go ahead and tell us how many times to cut. 2, 3, or 4 piles. Alrighty.
Okay. And LS, are you with us? If you are, could you tell us which of the 4 piles, 1 through 4, we should read from?
Sunny is slightly blocking one, but there it is. So
we'll give LS a couple of seconds. What do you think, LS?
The second pile, so that's this one here.
All right, I'll take it.
Alrighty.
And I will count out the cards.
Banshee counts off 13 cards. And once again, Edric, because you may not have heard this, we're using 13 cards in honor of Halloween. And of course, October 31st reversed is the 13th. So there's that. So now we have our cards.
So Edric, I am going to ask you from 1 to 13 to pick a number for the first card we draw.
Tarot Together. Visioning by Village. Visioning takes a village.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean. Okay, so I'm going to count off to the 7th card.
No, I have the cards.
Oh, you do? No, are you sure you do?
Yeah, I do.
Why did you give me these?
I told you.
You have more than 13. No, you don't.
13.
Sorry.
I
apologize.
I grabbed the right pile and I kept the cards.
And you gave me that
So
pile. 7.
3, 4, 5, 6. I have it for you,
Aren't
Edric.
we cute when we argue?
I'm not arguing. Ace of Pumpkins. This is awesome. I don't know if you're thinking of going in some area related to finance or a financial field, or if there is an exchange of money involved. But the other thing I would say to you is that it could be the beginning of some excellent financial
Project? Undertaking?
Some excellent financial returns for you, that you will get a lot out of this position. Oh, okay. I think it is the beginning of some career in finance and industry, then. I do believe that. And so I'm going to turn to, let's see, who else is here? Okay, JSS, well, no, LS. Tell me what card out of 1 through 12 you would like me to pick for the next card. Let's see what else we get that might give us a little bit more information about Edric's career. It looks very positive. The Ace of Pentacles or Pumpkins.
Right, only we could screw it up with another card. LS, if you're still with us, please go ahead and indicate. I know you're more of a distance, so maybe it's taking a while. Oh, number 12.
Oh, the last one. Okay.
Thank you, Alice.
Ooh. Well, this is
Very
interesting to
interesting.
me. The death card is reversed. Now, I could look at this a couple ways, and I would caution you, Edric, to make sure that whatever field or endeavor that you're getting into does not put you in a position of being like a dead end job, if you'll pardon the pun, because that is the death card. But there is some stagnation here, like maybe you feel like it's not, the position that you might be going into is not fulfilling enough, or there's not a lot of growth happening, and you're longing for something that will give you more variety and change.
Well, I'm thinking that maybe the thought that came into my head is that this is actually sort of changing careers in a sense for you too, and that the stagnation or the inertia is what you're feeling about the career you're trying to move away from. So that's what I'm thinking this is that you are hoping that the first card, the Ace of Pumpkins, is providing the idea that this is what you're moving towards and that it's actually going to be better for you. Certainly from a financial level.
Okay, so now we are down to 11 cards. So I'm going to talk to JSS this time. And JSS, which card would you like us to pull?
And this is the final card for Edric.
Number 10. So that would be this card here. And interesting. This is the Six of Bats, which is the Six of Air. Swords. And it almost seems as though you might be taking a journey of some sort. Like maybe there might be a move involved or some change of location, most definitely, that you're looking at as far as a career goes. It's not going to be if you are in business right now or in a particular place right now, it seems like it's a move away from that for sure. And it could actually be a move away from the environment you're in right now.
Yeah, this is totally about that. You need to get away from where you're at now. The idea about, seeing your career change or where will go. There's been too many difficulties or too many things that just leave you sad and depressed in certain ways or just not able to really function as well as you'd like to. And so you will be seeing yourself making those moves away, and then things hopefully will get better.
And another thing that I could sense here is that because this is a card about travel by water, I could also sense that maybe this financial career for you has something to do with international finances or maybe some overseas issues. I could almost see that playing into this as well. Also, water being fluid, obviously it's about fluidity, maybe fluidity with funds or finances. Does that make sense at all to you, Edric? Oh, you're thinking of moving to America. Okay, so there you have it. So if that is over water from where you are at, then
then it kind of makes sense. So it's usually more metaphoric, the idea of moving over the water. Water being sort of like the symbol of your consciousness or the stream of your thoughts, but it could also be an actual physical manifestation too. A moment ago, I was burbling around here because Sassy seemed to indicate she wanted to jump up on my lap, but she just won't do it.
Well, you know what? It's 8:41 now, and we do have some people who would like some more readings. And I'm just going to say, I hope everybody does not feel shortchanged by this and you feel it was valid readings, because I believe it was. And it's fascinating to me how all of this worked out. We definitely will do this again, and we will hone it and sharpen the way we do it a little bit more as time goes on.
We got stuff nobody else got.
And also, but I think because of time, we're going to go back to reading kind of our other style for now. And I believe...
Well, we have two things. JSS would like a reading, and
Is Jay Walker still here? Somebody asked us if we could read again. Who was that?
It was JSS.
Oh, okay.
You are welcome, Edric, and good luck. Check in again.
So JSS before LS.
Jay left the building. Somebody else may have left too.
Okay, but can I finish? JSS You are now, and LS wanted us to do a postcards from Spirit.
So we may end up with that one if you
Yeah.
can hang on long enough.
Yeah.
All right.
So hang on, LS. We'll get you in with that.
So I'm going to switch decks again and go back to my Gothic Tarot
Okay.
because it's scary. No, it's not. Okay, and JSS, you said one more question. Was it a specific? A cat just ran through and moved things.
Yeah, I noticed.
And now they're all abuzz.
Our cats are going kind of wild here all of a
It
sudden.
must be that Halloween night. You know, my first Halloween on my own when I was 18, not quite 19, I had moved away to college area, and I took my lucky cat Coco with me, my first cat of my own, and I had a beautiful large red goblet that sometimes I would use for little ceremonies I did. And somewhere on Halloween night, I heard this crash of glass and ran into the room where it was, and my cat had knocked over my little glass, and I was very sad, but I sort of thought that was kind of interesting. I didn't blame it on ghosts or anything else. I knew it was Coco. Streaming or recording videos. Should you be focusing on that? Now, before you were thinking more about the game design thing, and I know Smiling Soul was really talking you up on making sure you get certain levels of training or whatever, but let's go
So
ahead.
why don't we do the yes/no question for that?
Yes, so we're going to do a yes or no question. Should you be focusing on streaming, recording videos? And these questions, JSS, are a snapshot in time, so it may mean that right now the signs look that way, but if you came back in a month or so, go ahead and shuffle, it might say something different. So we're going to do our yes or no reading.
He is giving me no room to shuffle, and his tail is battling me.
I will try. Oh, my.
Good job. Could you grab his tail, please?
Well, if it wasn't a ghost, it might have been that crazy first college roommate I had. He was actually kind of crazy.
That's
So, a story for another time, perhaps.
okay.
Alrighty, so the question as a yes or no was whether you should be focusing on streaming or recording to YouTube.
You did not mean that as an either or, right? You just wanted to know if
It's the
that
same
as
thing,
a
basically.
focus. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Let's see what else you've got. And it is amazing, this tarot together thing that he has concocted. I give him credit for that because it all engages our audience and it gets you involved in the reading. And as I have said before, we all have psychic intuitive abilities.
Well, if I was a kid back in the 80s, I would say Thundercats are go. That was a popular cartoon that my son liked. Monster Hunter.
You've got one ace, the Ace of Pentacles,
You have another ace, the Ace of Wands.
and you have the
A
Ace
third
of
ace.
Swords.
They are all upright.
3 aces and all upright means most definitely you should go for it.
Yeah, this is a positive yes. This is the most positive yes answer we've had for anybody that we've done this type of
Well,
reading for. We didn't have a
Positive and definitive, but like I said, things can change. Your focus can change, and it depends what you put into it, of course. But as far as your question goes, should you do it? I think all signs are full steam ahead.
yeah. There's not really anything I can text you there unless you want to throw a Lenormand out for
Well,
him.
perhaps.
So we're gonna do that real quick, young sir. So, are you in a time zone that is not American, JSS, that you don't go out trick-or-treating, or did that already happen for you? Or I'm just curious because
Or the
in America,
culture,
most
it could
11-year-olds would probably still be doing trick-or-treating
But
for
it
Halloween.
doesn't have. It's not practiced the same way everywhere.
Right, well, that's why I asked if he was in America.
Right. Okay. So I have some interesting Lenormand. Remember before JSS you had the home card, I believe, and now you have the clover. So I do feel that as far as this live streaming and video goes, You feel very at home doing it. And also, the clover indicates there could be some luck for you there. Fortune favors this endeavor. Definitely. The
Yeah,
clover is about luck.
I can't say any more than that, so I'm going to just say that's pretty true. Ah, okay. Gotcha. You're actually in the next morning.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I agree with the Banshee that basically it looks like full steam ahead, and that really you probably would be pretty engaging, and that this would be really your heart's desire on certain levels.
So awesome. Good reading.
Mystic Dreamer just showed up, and we only have 13 minutes, so we're going to try to whip through this with both Ellis and Mystic Dreamer. So we're going to do Ellis, not too quickly, but enough to Ellis, are you thinking of, you want a certain person who's beyond to give a message, or just in general a message from Spirit, or how do you conduct that?
May I do this? LS, so basically I do have the postcards from Spirit, and I can draw a card for you from there and read what the message is from Spirit. They're really pretty fascinating, actually. Or we could draw a tarot card for you and see what message from Spirit that might be for you. So what would you prefer? Now I'll give you a second to respond. And Mystic Dreamer, welcome back. And we will get to your reading. If we have to go into a little overtime, we will. We have been live streaming.
We can do that.
We have been live streaming since 6, though, and we will make you the last reading. And I just dropped the cards.
Can you get them, or you want me to?
Oh my gosh,
Here,
I dropped a bunch of cards. No, they're under me.
I'm going to switch the camera.
And you can just let me know what Ellis's response is. As I grab them.
Okay, they're saying like postcards from Spirit card.
Okay, then we shall do it. We're going to both shuffle them, and we will let you know what they say. I don't know if you got to see them, LS. Were you here in the beginning when I showed them to everybody? Probably
They look like
not.
a postcard with a little stamp on them.
They look very ethereal and dreamy, like you're getting a message from Spirit.
And then on the back is the message.
And I just have to tell you, when I pull these for myself, they always give me a really good bead on what I need to be thinking about and how I should be, what I should be focused on.
Earlier, I did one, and I was thinking specifically of our friend Eric, who passed away a few years back, and it was quite interesting. It was definitely real for me because of my friendship with Eric and how we
Did you
relate
shuffle?
to each other. No, I haven't.
Okay. And it's just a very interesting and well-designed deck. Of course, it is a little bit generic, but you can almost feel like this, like I said, it almost seems like I am getting a message from beyond. I'm going to pull this one. And I'm just going to show you again how it does look like a postcard. There's even a stamp on it. It looks very ethereal, the writing on it. I'm going to show you the back just briefly to show that's your message from Spirit there. I will read it to you. This one basically says, "You are loved," on the front of the postcard. And on the back it says, "Dearest you, everything is in divine order. Even in chaos, there is order. And we are always in awe of this. For you, though, on your human journey, things can get disorganized in your mind and physical reality. You need to get rid of the clutter, whether it be too many stories in your mind, too many what ifs, or fearful thoughts of the past or future. Instead, focus on the now. Empty your mind, clear your house, throw out any object that tells you an uncomfortable story. Discern what you have, sort, purge, clear, and organize. We want you to have space to fill with something better. Spirit loves a vacuum, as it gives space for brilliant new energy. Let go of what is not serving you and give order to what remains. See them and know their value. Your soul needs organization in order to keep your connection to us and to spirit free of distractions. You are so adored by so many. We hope you really know that.
That's really sweet. That's very touching.
Does that resonate with you at all at this time, LS? Well, I hope you did enjoy that. And, I could use a little house cleaning and clearing myself, frankly. But I think it's talking about more than that, too. It mentioned the mental clutter aspects.
Absolutely perfect for what they're going through.
Really? Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. And like I said, it's just uncanny how they work for me.
Thank you, JSS.
Let me just tell you this one quick story before we get to Mystic Dreamer, and it is quick. I was debating one day whether I should go to a psychic reading and get a reading one year, and I had just gotten these postcards from Spirit, and it literally, the card I picked, and I was thinking in my mind, should I go do this? Should I get a psychic reading? Am I ready right now? And the card told me, literally, I should go take a leap of faith and do this thing that I'm worried about doing, and throw caution to the wind and just do. So I did. And when I got there, I picked a reader who did Lenormand cards. And when I sat at her table, what did she have on top of her table? The deck of postcard from Spirit cards. And I said, oh, I just got those. And she said to me, want to draw one? And so I drew one, and I drew the exact same card. Pretty uncanny, I have to say.
Thank you for sharing that too, Ellis. Appreciate that. And you too, JSS. Really appreciate that. Whenever you can watch streams, that's fine. The streams are also recorded, so if you want to catch up on them that way too, that's fine too. We appreciate all you guys so much for being a great part of our Halloween night.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mystic Dreamer, do you have a specific question for us today?
Yes, we have about 6 minutes, 4 minutes, 6 minutes that we can work with you.
And we will get it done.
Call 1-800-TAROT.
A general read for November. Okay, we can do that.
Alrighty.
So, you want my tarot deck this time again?
Yeah, or we can use one of mine.
We'll use the Halloween tarot one more time for Halloween.
Halloween, that's right. Aww.
Oh, look at him. He's helping. You got the cam on him? He's helping me shuffle.
Oh, look at that. Isn't that adorable?
He's such a doll.
He's
really
also
is.
looking at himself on the monitor, too. Yeah. He is such a little whatever.
Scene stealer is the word we're looking for.
Oh, look at that. That's so adorable. But you know what I think it is? He's like, when are you going to play with me? You've been here for 3 hours. You're usually only here 2 hours. Right? Is that what it is?
Okay, shuffle and cut.
He's his bestest caddy. Someone new that hasn't revealed themselves to us? A watcher? Cut?
Yes. And I will have to move away from you, Sonny, to get the cards. Okay, I think...
Mystic Dreamer, right on.
Candy. And we are ready. Giving props to Hershey's tonight. It has gotten me through my evening.
Welcome, Great Pumpkin?
Oh, he had a Halloween haiku that went something like, we're not going to get this exact, hurry up and visit? Hurry up and visit? No, can't remember.
Can't remember it.
It was about the Great Pumpkin, though, before I'm in a sugar coma. Well, at any rate, the first card, I think we're going to do a quick 4-card one for Mystic Dreamer because we're going to do one for each week. And the first week right now is showing for November is the 4 of Swords.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, what do you... the Four of Swords reversed. And the Four of Swords reversed is basically saying that it's going to be a time for action. It's going to be a time for movement. You know, maybe coming out from a slumber or a period of restful time, maybe, or of inactivity. It's getting back out and doing things. It's going to be a busy time for you that first week in November.
Yeah, I get the feeling like you've been in repose in some way, or you've been out of the loop, but the activity is going to start stirring again for you.
Week 2 in November. Oh, that is Cups, right? The coming or going of something connected with the emotions.
Now, it could be indicating that if you are single, or even if you're not single, there may just be somebody who possibly shows romantic or sort of interest to do with you. It may just be momentary. It may just be somebody who's a little flirtatious showing up in your sphere, or it may be the beginning of something else. It's definitely something semi-romantic or emotional coming towards you somewhere in the second week. It could just be a flirt. I don't know.
And the third week is the Queen of Imps. Whoa.
Oh, well, maybe
I
not.
have to say that's the Queen of Fire. And all I have to say, Mystic Dreamer, is it shows that you might be in your game come, the third week of November. It shows somebody very much in command of things, and a lot of fire energy, a lot of movement and growth.
The Queen of Wands is somebody who has real strong magnetic and attractive qualities, but yet that little black cat there, even in regular decks, not the Halloween deck, there's a little black cat by the Queen of Wands in most of the standard decks, and it's often called, quote unquote, the sinister side of love. And I have no idea what the sinister side of love is.
Well,
were
I
they
don't know,
thinking
we
of
can
BDSM?
speculate.
Back in 1910, BDSM was something they were thinking about. But going off of the piggyback of the flirting, I'm just wondering if maybe this third week shows that maybe there's something more there beyond flirting, and so that might just be a competing interest, and maybe it's just somebody that's there in that sphere of your work or enterprise. I don't know.
And the fourth week of November shows, well, again, there's a lot of people cards here. So I'm getting the feeling, these could be qualities obviously within yourself we're talking about here, but it could also be, you're going to be socializing a lot in the month of November, I think. And the Knight of Imps upright is the last card, and that is somebody who is got a lot of energy to burn. They might be just, it is upright. I'm not going to say they're reckless, but they might be a little bit fast moving. And I would say, hey, slow down just a little bit. And give yourself a little bit of a break. It seems like you're going to be having a lot of activity going on by the fourth week of November. I'm
struck intuitively by the three personages, a knight, a queen, and another knight. And I do sort of feel there's a flow here. And I'm just wondering if there's just this sort of slash and burn flirtation in November, because I'm thinking the Knight of Imps is really the Knight of Ghosts, but a couple weeks later. And so it's like what started off as maybe a little bit of flirtatiousness of sorts sort of ends up becoming maybe a little bit more serious, or at least somebody who is really trying to impress upon you that you can trust them and that they're a serious and honest person. On the other hand, it could also be just saying that these are qualities that you yourself are manifesting in that final week too. So
Oh, I am going to draw for you a couple Lenormand to finish our reading off, Mystic Dreamer. So let me do that. And then we're going to call it a wrap for the night, because it's been 3 hours. We've enjoyed every minute of this. And I want to thank all of you who did show up tonight, because frankly, we didn't know what to expect on a Halloween night. And it's been fantastic. If you missed the beginning of our show where we honored our relatives and deceased friends who have left us, you might want to check that out. We did a little honoring and a toast for them. And
JSS,
yes.
I think young people are very wise, and I really appreciate what you said very much. And we happen to follow a couple of other tarot card readers who
Yes.
are absolutely not scammers.
No.
And we do think that there's a principle involved with all this stuff, and that is that basically like-minded people attract like-minded people, like
We
energies. So we do feel that we're not afraid of the scammers and we're not intimidated by them. And we know that most good people out there, yourself included, can see us for what we are. So we appreciate that very much.
Well, I'm going to say one thing, Mystic Dreamer. I hate to end on a slightly sourish note for you here, but there is something up. These cards are kind of a difficult read together. I have the snake and I have the anchor. And there's a couple ways I could read this, and I'm thinking the snake is a difficult card because the snake, well, let's think about it in the sense of not a magical sense, but in a how we look at snakes. Oftentimes snakes are associated with sneakiness, underhandedness, somebody trying to go around you and doing things. And the anchor is with something that has some longevity or stability. Think about a boat that is anchored, it's standing still. So I think that you got to watch. There may be somebody that you know already that doesn't necessarily have your best interests at heart, and they may be rearing their ugly head this month for you and causing a little bit of difficulty.
But I feel, based on my understanding of just relating to the symbols, that this could also mean too that basically you will be able to, or you will be put into the position of sort of putting this person under lock and key, symbolically at least, or just sort of holding them at bay, you know, the anchor to position them in a safer spot for you. So I do sort of feel that that could be what it is that once this thing rears its head, you're basically going to just say, okay, I'm doing this then. And you're going to be able to contain or somehow, marginalize that person's influence.
I don't get an indication of sex here. It could definitely be a woman involved. It's not indicating that to me, so definitely that is a possibility.
Well, Mystic Dreamer, you so intrigued me with telling me some of these things that I can't bear to ask that you do show up again and tell us how it worked out, because I just sort of feel like, oh, this flirtatiousness, and then it moves on to maybe something that's more real. Like, I gotta know more. I am a Scorpio, you know.
And look at Sonny. He is now putting his paws on the cards.
He's putting his foot down. He's saying, come on, guys, you
We
should
have
stop your
to
reading.
wrap this for
Wrap it
tonight.
up.
But again, thank everybody for coming today.
Thank you so much.
I hope you've enjoyed our program today, and join us again. We'll be here Sunday from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for more fun. We usually go for 2 hours. We went for an extra hour tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna
and
flip the schedule
we
up
may
real
do
quick.
that again sometime in the future.
Babble for a moment. I'm just going to show the
Okay.
schedule.
He's going to show the schedule while I babble for a moment, apparently.
Okay, I guess I don't need you to babble.
Oh, and no, I'm not babbling. I am merely saying we
Good
appreciate
night,
you.
JSS. Thank you.
And
Thank you,
we
Mystic
want to
Dreamer.
say
Thank
good
you,
night
Ellis.
to everybody, and we will see you next time.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.